Hello, welcome. And there's Chris. Chris is on time tonight.
On time,
You're on time.
always.
Holly could be the judge of that.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm struggling, man. I'm having all kinds of problems. My bird's screaming. He's been screaming, "Hi, sugar!" And it's so funny. A minute ago, he's like, "I love the bird," and I was like, "Oh." I've been telling him I love him all the time, and he's like, "I love the bird." It's like, "I love
No,
you, sugar." So sweet.
yeah, your birds are cute.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, you caught it as it starts. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody tap screen, send some hearts. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. It's that time of the Sunday night where we gather around are we going with Goat Man or Sheep Squatch? I feel like he's a Sheep Squatch. We gather around the Sheep Squatch. We tell spooky stories. Everything gets a little weird. And then we all go to bed feeling satisfied at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're from Eastern Kentucky. Very cool. I am also from Eastern Kentucky. I'm from Elliott County, if you know where that is. Sandy Hook. Um,
I think Holly was here
what?
before even you were.
I know, right? Yeah. Um, yeah. Hey, Holly. Paducah. Cool. Lots of Kentuckians in here tonight. So, how's everybody's weekend? Was it a good one? How about you, Chris? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was fabulous.
Fabulous. Very cool. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. I have no energy tonight. I am so sleepy. Holy cow. I gotta snap out of it so it gets wild in here so I can like instigate everybody. We got a taker already, but you know what it means when somebody
Um,
comes up immediately.
yep.
But we'll see how this goes. Hello and
Hello.
welcome.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So I got a quick story. I live in
Okay.
California next to a Space Force base, and I've seen this big old ball of fire in the sky that's underneath the clouds, and it just glows and it kind of just goes through the clouds, and you can see it illuminating the clouds as it
Is
passes
it the
through them.
sun?
But no, it's in the middle of the night. The story that I'm getting to though is I saw it with my neighbors. We're having a barbecue, and
Mm-hmm.
there's seven of us, and like four of us were children, three of us were adults. Everybody forgot that it happened like 3 days later. Like their minds couldn't comprehend that it happened until I reminded them, and then they remembered again. Like so that's the trippy part that gets me every time is how their minds couldn't remember that there was something in the sky that
No
wasn't supposed to be
way.
there.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Yeah,
So
I did some research. It's just like people's minds don't want to see it and don't want to pretend or don't want to comprehend it, so they just forget about it. It's like trauma.
hmm. Yeah, that's really peculiar. Do you have like any pictures or videos or anything of it by any chance?
So that happened about 7 years ago, and my phone was a potato, so I do have it, but
Yeah.
you can't see nothing. It's just like everything else. You can't really see what it is, but I have
Yeah.
witnesses. I have witnesses, is what I'm saying though. Seven witnesses.
That's pretty crazy. Did you ever go
I live in
online to
California.
look and see if there were like UFO reports or anything filed that kind of coincide with it by any chance?
Yeah, yes. So I have a buddy that works on the base, and I called him the next day, and he said there was nothing being ran that night, and that's what he does is stare at the stars for his living. So And he said there was nothing that was clear to like take off that night on the base.
Interesting.
But so where we're from, we stick out inside the coast, so it's a thick layer, marine layer, that is like super low, and we saw it underneath the marine layer of clouds. So it wasn't a falling star. It was nothing like that. It was actual a ball of energy. Like it was like just like womp 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 womp. You could just see the plasma, the energy ball, just flowing from the coast and going inland.
Wow.
And so that has me believing in like aliens and all that now.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes you
then
have
be,
to see
and
something like that to kind of grasp the concept of it and believe it.
then besides that, I've seen a shadow figure with someone that saw it simultaneously that I did too. It was a dark mass walking in the garage, and I saw it move from the left side to the right side of the doorway, and then someone else simultaneously saw it at the same time move from the kitchen into the garage. So we both saw this at the very same exact second, but I saw it move from one way to the other way, and he saw it move from the other way. So it moved super fast, where we saw it at different angles. But it was a dark mass that a humanoid like shadow figure. It looked like a human, but it was just pure darkness. So those are like just twice that I've seen like just like craziness, paranormal stuff in my life, and I've yet to see anything else yet. But that was over like 15 years ago, and then 7 years ago. But and I'm still waiting for more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we.
saw a very. Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh, go
sir.
ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna. I was just gonna tell you, Mojo. I saw a very similar UFO, so I definitely believe you on that.
Yeah, I like I wouldn't even just tell anybody, but I keep on sharing the story so I don't forget.
Right.
Like it needs to be told. And then I've done research, and then I'm over here by Vandenberg inside California, and there has been like similar stories everywhere around this area.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so
so cool to.
I'm like the only one that's has seen it.
Yeah, that's cool to hear somebody else talk about something like that because I've never heard another story like it before. When you said plasma, I was like, "Oh shoot, that's exactly what I saw."
Yeah, you can see the energy, and like it's like plasma just like moving in the sky, and a ball of energy just going quietly.
Yeah, it's wild.
We see like SpaceX and everybody's around here, and it makes noise. Everything makes noise.
Yeah,
Like SpaceX and or the Air Force or the Space Force, everything that goes in the sky makes noise. This did not. That's pretty crazy though. And there's a third incident. When I was like 9 years old, I got lost on Mount Rainier, and I swear it was Bigfoot that got me lost. Where I was lost on Mount Rainier when I was 9 years old for about 15 hours. But I remember it's hard for me to remember because I was 9. But I remember
Yeah.
there was something like leading me back to where I needed to be. And then finally I got found because something was guiding me back, and it was like a earthly forest presence that like kind of was guiding me back to civilization. But I made it out there. It was snowing, and it was like I was up into my waist in snow trying to find my way back, and this I think it was Bigfoot though, like kind of earthly presence kind of brought me back into civilization.
Hmm.
So those 3 times I felt something that was paranormal in my life.
Very cool. We appreciate you sharing that stuff with us.
yeah,
Yeah, it's real.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for
You
coming up. Oh, I think he must have got a call or went off the app.
yeah.
Um, Very cool. I thought it was going to be a troll because I swear to God, as soon as I get on here, if somebody requests immediately, it's always a troll. So when he started saying that, I was like, "Was it the sun?" I know where you're going with this. But yeah, no, very cool story. Appreciate him.
Yeah.
We got a couple of people.
What's up?
Is it connecting?
Don't think so. Oh,
I'm gonna drop you. Come back if you want, but it's not connecting. Probably gonna have one of those kind of glitchy nights, I would
hmm.
say.
Hello,
Hello and welcome.
how you doing? Thank you
Good. How are
for.
you?
All right, thanks for bringing me on. I caught you last week, just as you were wrapping it up. But yeah, I got two stories actually. If you guys want to hear, I just discovered your channel, like I said last week. Um, One was back in '89. Actually, I had a studio apartment, and I was actually speaking to a girl on the phone, like a regular phone, and she told me that she'll call me back. So I fell asleep. I put the phone on the side of the bed on the floor. I fell asleep, and the phone rang, and I woke up, and I know I was up, and I reached down to pick it up, and something grabbed a hold of my hand, and I could not break free. I don't know what it was. Um, and I remember pulling. I never looked down at the bottom, but I just remember that I was trying to break free, and something just had a hold of me, and then it just like gave up. But there was nothing more after that with that story. But I'll never forget it. It was kind of strange because I couldn't break free no matter how hard I pulled. Um, but yeah, it was. That's it. That's with the one story. Um, and then the other one, it was real difficult for me to talk about. This happened a couple of years ago. My grandmother passed a long time ago, back in '85, and I was sleeping in bed one night, and I woke up because I felt real uncomfortable, and then all of a sudden, I felt like this overwhelming peace and happiness, and I don't know what it was, but I knew it was my grandmother. And like I said, I couldn't really talk about it for a while because it was upsetting. But you know, um, like I said, I was real uncomfortable in the beginning, like when it first happened, and then like I said, I felt real peaceful, and I just knew what it. I knew it was my grandmother, and I remember sitting up, and I said it's my grandmother, and I was shocked. And like I said, I felt real peaceful and happy. And then I could feel her going away. And my son's bedroom is like maybe 30 feet away. And as I was feeling her leave, I know I said, come back. And like I said, it was at night and everything. And I told her to come back. And right when that happened, as I felt her like leaving, my son started giggling in his sleep. And I just thought that was really strange. I don't know why or how, but I just knew it was my grandmother. And you know, like I said, I couldn't talk about this for a while because it was a upsetting. But I just that was my only two stories. Like I said, you know, it's strange that I just cause as far as like ghosts and everything, I would be scared to death. But something I was comforted in that situation, and I knew it was my grandmother. Like I said, I don't know how or why, but It's strange because she passed away so long ago, and I don't know. That's all. That's it. Nothing too crazy, but something definitely strange on those
Yeah,
situations.
absolutely. Very interesting. We really appreciate you sharing that with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me on, and I'll continue to listen.
Thanks
Um,
for coming up.
Thank you. You have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
We're off to a good start, guys. Tap screen, send some hearts. Oh, we have another person. I did not realize that. Whoops. Have you ever seen a dog man? I don't know, maybe. Hello, welcome.
Hey, thank you for letting me in the box. I was in here one
Yeah,
time. So there's a lot going on right now, right?
I suppose, yeah.
As far as everything in the skies and all this, everybody's seeing like multiple suns, and I just want to make a point. Like when you live on like a ley line, everything's kind of like it's fluctuating, it's going back and up and forth, and we got the grand solar flash, right? That just happened. Like it was like a day ago. The explosion of the sun. So we got to be prepared because these interdimensional beings, they might come through, they might not, you know what I mean? And like I told you the last or the last time I was on your live, I live by an area where there's like a portal, and we just got to be aware of it. And how could I say it to make sense? The energy is just so strong right now because I'm a life path 22, so like I feel this energy when it comes through, like the cat, or not that Akashic, but like the how could I say it? The human resonance, like when it like Mother Gaia's heart's beating like crazy, like I'll start feeling it. And like right now is a time where strange things are gonna start occurring. The sky is gonna change colors and all that, and we're gonna see like multiple things that's gonna be weird, right? So it's like we got to be prepared for it. And Mike Tyson,
Yeah, we got Mike Tyson. We're good.
what the hell? What are you trying to say?
Who, me or the comment?
Yeah, is it my list? I don't know. Fuck it, I don't care. But yeah,
No, I didn't. I didn't even notice it. No, you don't have one, do you? I didn't even notice.
no, I don't.
I
I
think they're
don't.
saying because he's a fighter or something that he can
Yeah,
fight off
no.
the monsters or whatever. I'll tell you one thing though, and nobody's gonna like this very well, but I just have to say it because I know it all. The thing with the two suns, that's because there's a mirror inside of cell phone cameras. And I see those videos on TikTok all the time. They're always like, "Look, there's two suns." So it's like it's actually like bouncing. There's like a curve inside your phone. So I've never seen two suns. I know that there's UFO activity, but I don't know about this whole like people catching videos of it, stuff like that. but uh, but yeah, we appreciate you coming up and hopefully you hang out with us and listen to some wild, crazy stories tonight. I think he's gone. Are you
I'm
gone?
serious. I just want to add a little bit more if you're down. Or
I can't hear you that well. What was it?
no, I want to hang out a little bit more if you're down, or you want to kick me out, or what's up?
No, I mean, do you have a paranormal story? Because that's really what we do here. We just kind of share stories. So, like, if you have a specific story, do you have like a super spooky one that scared the crap out of you?
I could say a lot, but one particular one is like when I went to Sedona, Arizona. I captured like these beans on my. That was back in the day. It was like 2011. So I didn't really have a I had like a pixel camera, and I captured like these. I want to say they're probably angelic, and it was crazy because like when I saw it, like because I was trying to take a photo of like this certain rock, it looked like a eagle, and then I captured like this bean, and still to this day I don't know what it was, but it was moving. It was like bluish color. It was like a glowing color, and then I captured like four of them after that. And then the time, I'm gonna tell you this much, is fucking crazy. The time, like the from I was from point A to point B, like it was like 2 hours, like not there. And this happened in Sedona, and I was like, what the fuck happened? Like I'm
Yeah.
still to this day, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I got like snuffed up or whatever. I mean, it's happened to me before though. I've had dreams where like I got taken up or whatever, and it's just weird. But I want to share that too because it's like there's certain spots I think in the globe that you kind of like you could like do like different elevations of like your construct, you know what I mean? And I mean to me that was spooky because I was like, oh, what is this? You know what I mean? But it wasn't like it was like trying to possess me and like that. It was just like a good thing. But yeah, I mean that's a positive story to be honest with you, you know. But yeah, I think there's ley lines on the globe where we actually could like manifest like certain activity that will arrive and it will happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. People in the comments are saying yes, aliens. So yeah. Um, all right. Well, we really appreciate you coming up. Hopefully, you hang out with us. We'll talk to you later.
All right, cool.
Have a good night. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. We want to hear some Bigfoot stories tonight. Well, I want to hear some Bigfoot stories. Chris, what are you manifesting for the night? What type of stories?
I'm not sure. It kind of feels like an alien night, UFO night. But by the way, I might get dropped. It seems like I'm having those issues again.
um, Usually it will show me if you're having like a connection problem, and I don't see anything that says that you are. So, looks.
Well, I just did it right now, and it froze. So I had to go get one of my other phones and come back.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, hopefully not. But just letting you know.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully you don't have any problems. Yeah, hopefully we do have an alien night. That would be cool. I feel like we don't get enough alien abduction stories. I feel like there aren't as many as there used to be because, like, in the 90s and stuff, there were so many stories of alien abductions. But you know what? I kind of have like a little bit of a theory. I think there were some really wild, crazy stories come out in the early to mid 2000s. Like, do you know who Stan Romanek is by any chance? Anybody?
I'm not too sure.
He's the Starseed guy. He was I don't know if he was cuckoo banana fruit loops or just looking to get famous, but he came out with this really wild documentary. I cannot remember what the documentary is called. I think it was just called Starseed. Let me see here. His name was Stan Romanek, and it's spelled exactly how it sounds. I think it's Starseed. Yeah, so it's called Extraordinary, the Stan Romanek story, and he had what he claimed was video footage of little gray aliens peeking in his windows and stuff. He had all kinds of like crazy footage, and there was this. It was actually really fun to kind of like look at his alleged captures and like try to figure out if he had staged it. Because I'll tell you what, some of the captures that he had, some of them were ridiculous, obviously, but some of them were pretty interesting, and it kind of made you think like, if this guy faked this, does he have like I don't know, Hollywood animatronics capabilities? Like, is he able to do this just out of his garage or his basement? You saw it, Cat Mama saw it, yeah. So Cat Mama knows what I'm talking about. But like some of the photographs that he had that he claimed were aliens was just kind of like obviously bad Photoshop. But his little alien creatures, those were pretty spooky looking. Um,
I'll have to look into that.
yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting documentary. And then what's even crazier, there's like a whole other layer of crazy on this story because he ended up getting accused of some really bad stuff. You'll have to Google it. But you watched it on YouTube. I forget where I watched it because it's been so many years ago. But yeah, that's good if it's on YouTube. That way everybody can just look it up, you know. Um, Want to hear some Dogman stories, Raven? Yeah, we get some good Dogman stories once in a while. Not very often. Um, Floyd County. I know where Floyd County is. I remember Floyd County Paranormal. I don't know if you know who they are, but I used to know them back in the day. All right, guys, guest box is open. Anybody wants to come up and tell a spooky story? Extra points if it's about alien abduction. I was going to have my alien background ready for tonight. I forgot to fix it. Forgot all about it. We need
That'd
some
be cool.
new ideas for emojis, Chris. I tried to make a Loch Ness Sea Monster one and I remembered why I hadn't made one before. It's because it's really hard to get it
Yeah.
the right proportions and like the right pose. Because where it's so
Yeah.
small. Yeah, so yes, I am from Kentucky. Chris is not from Kentucky, but I'm from Kentucky. Or wait, are we going to pretend like
Yes,
you're
I am.
also like a southern? Yeah, okay, so he is kind of, sort of, at least
Yeah,
for the
I'm from
purposes of
Kentucky.
entertainment.
It's true.
Do the accent.
No, I'm actually from Tennessee, guys. So yeah.
You battle astral entities every second of the day. What, like fleas or something? I don't know. What is it? What could it be that you could battle every second of the day? I would think like maybe fleas in your couch, but that would just be my wild guess. Um, yeah, Kentucky. Wonder where Tully is tonight, Cecil. Hopefully he gets to pop in and hang out with us. He might be busy though, I guess. Haha, cat mama.
Cat
Hey.
mama.
Chris put a good thing in the chat room. He was talking about this video. It's an older video, and it was these people like they were in a house and they were reacting to what was going on outside, and apparently it was an alien abduction. It's a very old video. I don't remember the name, but I remember seeing it and watching it. I don't know if anyone remembers seeing or hearing about it. It was like a family. They were having like a get together, and strange things started happening, and they were really like scared of what was going on out front. Like they had beings outside the house, and I remember watching this video, but it was such a long time ago that I don't remember the name, and I'm gonna have to go research it. Does anyone in the chat room remember this video? It probably happened in like the 80s or the late 80s, maybe the early 90s or something like that.
I don't know. It's not ringing any bells for me.
I saw Chris talk about it, and I remember watching it because I've been a fan of the paranormal for a very long time. So I'm gonna have to go look that up, and if I find it, I'll post it in the chat room. I was just wondering if anyone else remembered it.
It's on YouTube.
I'm trying to remember if I did watch it. I watch everything on YouTube, but I'm gonna check
Yeah.
YouTube, and I'm gonna check YouTube to see if it's still on there. But when Chris was talking about that, I instantly remembered it.
Hmm.
Yes,
There's
yes. What B C Hexter? She's. They said that they were grays and they think they came inside as well. Yes, yes, I remember that. I'm gonna have to try and find the name of the video, and I gotta go do some researching on the internet.
Yeah, come back and let us know what you find out.
All right, I'm gonna head down because I'm gonna head up into the house. I'm in my car, but I'm not driving. So I'm gonna
Alrighty.
settle in, and I'll come back to the chat.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm kind of
Never
interested
seen
in
that.
that. Just yeah, no, I haven't either.
I'm surprised.
Sounds interesting. Guest box is open, guys. If anybody wants to come up and tell a spooky story.
Yeah, sir, you know what that reminded me of? Have you ever seen that really old video on YouTube where those two guys are pranking their friend, making it seem like they're aliens? And then some like actual aliens come into the room? Somebody has to know what I'm
No,
talking about. Yeah, I'll
don't
have to
think I
send that
know.
to you, but it's like a YouTube, it's like classic YouTube back in the day. Okay, Cat Mama knows. She knows what I'm talking about.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Sarah. It seems like every time I do these streams, my Wi-Fi just freaks out.
Yeah, it's probably one of those three-letter agencies out to get you. Make sure that you don't tell your alien story.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is scarier, ghosts or concept of no afterlife and nothing? I don't know if either
Hmm.
one of them's really scary. What do you think, Chris?
Um. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not too sure. They're
Oh, I
both
see
spooky.
Harry. Hey, Harry. Yeah, they're both spooky for sure.
The
What's
Men in
wrong with your
Black.
internet in Utah? Maybe that's I don't know, maybe some solar flares or something. I think some solar flares got AT&T a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but like AT&T was down all over the country. It's crazy. I'm
Cecil, I
afraid of
think that's
solar flares. Sorry, what?
Oh no, I was telling Cecil. He was asking about a TV show. Are you scared? I think he's thinking about Scare Tactics. Did you ever see that show, Sarah?
Yeah, I remember that.
With
That
Shannon
show was
Doherty.
fun. Yeah, it was fun for a little while, but I don't know, it
Yeah.
got old really fast.
Yeah.
Solar flares, aka the government. No, it's the sun. It's exploding. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Sarah, how
Uh,
are y'all now?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I heard y'all talking about aliens there a little bit. I've not really ever believed in aliens, but I'll tell you a little story that happened to about three of us guys one time in the 90s. Uh, we were camping out. We always used to go out in the woods, camp out a lot, and we stayed on an old farmer's, stayed out in his field one night, and probably around about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, the wind picked up really hard, and we were sleeping in like a little old junky tent. I guess we wasn't bright enough to strap it to the ground or whatever, and the wind blew the tent completely. It blew us and the tent kind of down the hill a little ways, and we all crawled out of the tent. And when we did, down at the bottom of the holler, there was like a real bright light. Looked like somebody spotlighting. Um, we wasn't sure what was going on, but we could see the old man's cattle down there. We could see lights like really bright, and we didn't know what it was. And the light kind of went really fast out of there, and it almost like come down vertically, and then it went out of there really fast horizontally. And we didn't hear nothing. We thought it was a helicopter. We had no clue what it was, but we didn't hear any sounds, but the wind was blowing really hard. So we wasn't sure if we could hear it or not, and it wasn't really far away from us. But the next day, that old man had lost one of his bulls, and to this day, I don't know. He never did find that bull. He would get on the radio and announce if anybody had seen it, and he put out rewards for it and everything. So that bull ended up disappearing. And what we saw, I have no clue, but it's kind of creepy that it was a pretty good sized bull too. I'm guessing probably around about 2,000-pound bull disappeared, and how nobody saw it in the area, I don't know. So
Yeah,
that
that's
could have been an
crazy.
alien story. I don't know.
Kind of sounds like it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, kind of odd. I mean, it's one of them situations that you just kind of run into, and you try to figure it out in your own mind.
Yeah.
Seen someone a while ago had put, is Ouija boards legit or not? I'll tell you this story and then I'll get off here. I don't mess with them no more, and I did this probably in 1987, 1988. We were in an old house, and there was about 6 of us kids decided we were going to get a Ouija board and start playing with it in a old house that we considered to be haunted. We all was scared of that old house. It was abandoned. And we went up into the attic of that old house and set up the Ouija board. And we started doing a little seance, started doing our little thing with it. And probably sitting up there about 15 minutes, and everybody put their hands on it. And it kind of started moving. We all didn't know if anybody was moving or not. Everybody was, saying who's moving it. And you've heard the spiel. You've probably done it before yourself. But it started spelling out words, and we would ask it questions, and it would say yes or no. And then we ask it about the future. We ask it about, our future and stuff like that. And we were getting kind of creepy with it. Well, all of a sudden it started spelling out a word, and it went to the letter C. And then a few minutes later, it moved over to the letter A. And before it could move anymore, there was the awfulest wreck that happened outside. There was a car that actually hit a tree and killed the guy in front of us, right in front of our house. He was probably done about 70 on a road that he shouldn't even been going that fast on, and hit a tree right in the front of that property. And we all ran out, to see what was going on. And the car literally caught on fire, and it was a bad ordeal. We could hear tires squealing. So after that day, I think one of the boys had went back upstairs, and he swore that the Ouija board was on R, that it had went from the A to the R without us moving it. But to this day, I've never touched one after that, and that scared all of us kids completely to death. We didn't know what was going on. So no more Ouija board.
Wow. That's the craziest Ouija board story I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, we all freaked out. Right now, if I talk to any of them about it, they're like, nope, don't mess with Ouija boards no more.
Holy cow. That's insane.
Yeah. So I'll get off here and let you go, and y'all keep the show up. Good job on the show, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And thanks for coming up.
All right, see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Gosh, you know what that makes me want to do though? Like every time I hear a really, really like intense Ouija board story, I'm like, I'm gonna get one and I'm gonna like use it and live stream it, because I don't know, I just want to see one work one time. I just want to see it. I'm so envious of people. I see Raven in the comments like, no. I'm dying to see one work though. Like I have to see it. I've played with a Ouija board a couple of times, but I never got to see anything, everybody's like, no, don't do it. Curiosity unalived the cat, I guess. I don't know. Did you get zapped, Chris?
No, but give me 1 second. I'm gonna go try to fix my router. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Raven. Oh, Raven, I saw earlier that you were asking about my cat. He's okay. He's been running around playing, doing normal scooter things. But I thought about that like all week. Um, it was just I don't know. Chris is getting a Ouija board. Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned that though. Like it makes a lot of sense that he was upset about his hair because it's just like a day or two before me and you had that conversation. Um, Usually, like when they rip hair off of each other, it's usually like black and white hair because of the specific ones who fight. And it's not. Sometimes it's like kind of a serious cat fight. But the other day there was like a chunk of orange hair, which was Scooter's hair, and I was like, Scooter, what happened here? So it's just weird that you mentioned that. But anyway, I won't go on a crazy cat lady ramble here. Hey, werewolf, I see you. Didn't know you were here. Guest box is open, guys. If anybody has a story, we are manifesting alien abduction stories tonight. So if you have an alien abduction story you'd like to share, we would really like to hear it. But we also do paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, glitch of the matrix. There was another there was one I was going to put on here, but I can't remember now. I don't know. Well, anyway, Ouija board stories. If anybody has one of those, we definitely want to hear it. Jump in the guest box. Come up. Tell us a story. Tell us your spookiest spooky story of all time. The one that scared you the most. The one you'll never forget. That's the one we want to hear. And in the meantime, everybody tap the screen. Send some hearts. Hearts means people, means ghost stories. We are doing good. I'm doing good. John Lee, hopefully you are doing well as well. Um, are you back?
Yeah, I'm like out of breath from just walking to the living room to disconnect the the router and plug it back in.
Chris, it's all those Olive Garden breadsticks.
I haven't gone to Olive Garden, Sarah. I had Subway today, for your information.
Ooh, yoga foam, yoga mat foam. Do you remember that when they discovered that the Subway bread was made out of yoga mat foam?
I heard about that, but I mean that's not true, is it?
I think it was true.
Well, they said that about the McRib patties. That I believe, but I love the McRib, so I don't care. I'm gonna eat it anyway.
You know what's funny about that is was it Grant? I think it was Grant from Mythbusters. He did like a little video thing a few years ago about the McRib. That it wasn't like toxic or dangerous or made out of like people or whatever. Um, they use sponge.
Yeah,
There
it's
was
probably
a
like pig ankle.
ugh, gross. I don't know what's going on, but my cat just jumped up on my lap and he is soaking wet, and I don't know why. He's so wet all over. Don't you just love that when your cat's like, hold me, mommy, and then you hold him and you're like, why are you wet? Why are you soggy? Bean, why are you
Yeah.
soggy? Um, Tofu. Yeah, it probably does have something to do with the water bowl, hopefully. Hopefully. I don't know. Guest box is open, guys. Don't make me ramble about how moist Bean is.
Oh my
Get
god.
up here. Somebody get up here and talk because I do not need to be talking tonight. I need to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah, we want to hear paranormal stories, guys. So somebody has one.
Moist. Yeah, I started to say something else and I was like, I don't
Yeah, guys, we probably shouldn't say moist bean on here. Okay.
Holy shit. Okay, serious face. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. All right. Ectoplasm. That's exactly what it is. Cue the Cardi B song, though. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you
Oh
for
my
the little
gosh,
heart thingamabob.
I didn't know ectoplasm was a thing. I didn't know like it was supposedly a real thing. And there's like, if you Google it, there's like supposed pictures of it. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've got it in one of my paranormal books, and I used to look at it when I was a kid. Oh, thank you for the little pink heart. Uh, uh was that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we were talking about that the other night, weren't we? On the
I think
stream.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went and got my book out and was trying to find it, and I think I eventually did find it, but I don't know what happened. I think we started talking about something else. But yeah, I used to look at those pictures when I was a kid, and I was like, "That's so gross and weird and creepy. What is that?" And I remember thinking, like, "Do people believe this is real? Because it looks fake to me." But I don't know. I was a weird little kid, so I always wanted proof of everything.
Well,
Um,
what is it supposed to be?
I don't know. They say that it's like some type of, I don't know, just goop off of ghost, I guess.
Okay.
Ghost slime. I don't know.
Yeah.
um, what is my opinion of the upcoming eclipse? I'm excited about it. I would have liked to travel to go see, maybe get a better vantage point, but I don't think it's going to be a good idea to travel too far because probably going to get stuck in a lot of traffic because I'd say lots of other people are going to be traveling too. Chris, I think you should be able to see the eclipse pretty well. Have you looked to see if you're in the path of totality?
No, I'll check it out though. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to
Okay.
go pretty close to you. Yeah, it's ghost juice.
Ghost juice. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the one in
Well,
2017. That one was really cool.
no stories tonight. What's going on? We started off really good, and then what happened?
Oh, you know how it is. It gets wild after midnight. We go down a little slope and then it gets crazy and then we can't handle it and we have too many people and we can't get to everybody. It's always how it goes, especially on Sunday. Um, Alien abduction stories, guys. If anybody has one, hop in the box, come up here and tell us about it. Chris, you want to tell us a wild story while we wait?
Oh man, I can't think of one right now. What, some crew crime stories for Cecil? Yeah, I saw you making fun of me, Cecil, on that live stream. Not cool, dude. Not cool.
We need merch that says Crew Tribe.
Yeah, crew crime, Chris.
There's no such thing as a glitch. I mean, electronics glitch out all the time, so you're gonna have to be more specific. You mean a glitch in the Matrix, or a glitch in software? Um,
Yeah.
New segment we do. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, new segment. Crew Tribe. I don't know, you guys. It sounds right to me. Like when I hear that, I don't notice anything off about it. Does anybody else kind of like? Oh, maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know. Anyone see the new Ghostbusters? I did not. Did I even know that there was a new Ghostbusters? I don't know. TJ's back. What is the topic, Lawrence? We're just talking about spooky stuff. Hey, welcome back.
Since you can't get nobody else to tell you anything, I'll come in and tell you something.
Okay.
So I'm a plumber. I go to a lot of places and into a lot of old creepy buildings and go to a lot of a lot of basements and a lot of underneath houses and a lot of places that nobody sees. When you're a plumber, I think there's some ghost hunters that started out as plumbers, seen a lot of stuff. I've been a lot of creepy things and seen a lot and heard a lot over the years doing stuff. I was working in an old school one time down in the basement of an old school, and it was summertime. The school was closed. I was working on a boiler, and me and 3 other guys was down there working on that boiler. And the school was like out in the country. There's nobody around during this time. It's summertime. There's no children around. There's no teachers around. We are the only people there. And the 2 guys that was helping me left to go get some parts, and they left me there working. And I had a welder plugged in, and I was welding some pipe, and it kept going off on me. The whole time those guys were there working, there wasn't a problem at all. And this old dark hallway that went about 80 feet so back down the hall, and then around the corner, we had some old, like the old incandescent light bulbs, the old 60 watt or 100 watt light bulbs. There's only like one of them in the area. It was creepy anyway. And my welder kept going off or kicking the breaker, and I would go around to try to see what was going on with it. Well, my cord would be unplugged, and I wasn't figuring out what was going on. Those guys had left and there was nobody there, and I plug it back in. I go back, get started back welding again, and 5-10 minutes later, the cord would be unplugged again. So I walk around the corner, back down the creepy hallway, and about halfway down the hallway on the 3rd time of trying to plug this thing in, I see something black kind of go by the end of the hallway. And that freaks me out a little bit, and I yelled down the hallway. I was like, "Hey, anybody in here?" And, nobody answered. I thought, okay. So I plug it back in again, get started back working. And this time I worked long enough to be able to get the weld done. And I turned the welder off, and I'm just sitting there waiting on those guys to get back. I'm waiting on them, and all of a sudden I start hearing like kids laughing, like up and down the hallway. I can hear them laughing. So I walk out and look, and when I get out to the hall, I don't hear or see anything when I get out the hall. So I go back in the room again and sit down in the same place, and I start hearing kids laughing again. And by this time, I think I'm losing my mind. I'm thinking, what is going on? So I walk all the way out of the building and look around the building. There's nobody around the building. So I start walking through the building. Couldn't find a soul. And about 5 minutes into that, the guys had came back. And, they was like, man, what are you doing? Did you get what you was doing done? I was like, yeah, I got what I was done, but I had to come out of there. I said, I keep hearing some weird sounds like kids laughing and stuff like that. And he's like, you've lost your mind. And about 2 days later, one of the other guys was working there by himself and started hearing the same thing and actually saw kind of the same shadow figure. And I told them, I said, yeah, that place may be a little bit haunted. I don't know. He's like, dude, that is the craziest thing ever was. He said, you can literally hear people laughing and talking, and there's nobody around. I was like, yep. So that old place apparently has got something going on there.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you do run into that a lot of times in people's people's houses and old creepy buildings. You just don't know what you're going to get into sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it. There was a guy on last week, and I think he said he was a realtor. Pretty sure, or maybe he was just talking about a friend who was a realtor. But he was saying that if you don't believe in the paranormal when you first start, you eventually will, because they see so many houses. So I'd say it's the same like in your profession. You see so many different places that you kind of inevitably, run into that type of stuff. So.
Yeah, you go into places when there's nobody there a lot of times. I mean, most time whenever I'm doing winterizations on homes and going into homes that are for sale, when you start working in them, you're going to hear creepy stuff. I've had doors close on me and things of that nature going in those old houses. And you really don't know if it's just something going on with the home or You don't know if it's paranormal. I guess that's why some of these plumbers have become paranormal investigators. They see and hear so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, I'll get off here again. I'll listen to you for a few minutes here, and then I'm going to bed.
Alrighty. We
All right.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Guest box is open, guys. Anybody's got a spooky story, feel free to get up here. And I'll tell you what, this cat is making biscuits on my leg. Holy cow. Oof. Lord have mercy, that hurts. Hey, Tully. Cecil told us that you were doing your Chippendale side job tonight. Doing a little side hustle.
Mama.
Yep, he told on you. Yeah, Bean is giving me acupuncture. Holy cow. Lord have mercy. He went to jump on my lap last week. Somebody was up here talking and he missed and he tore literal holes in my leg. And I was sitting here, I was like, oh God, I can't scream. So I was just like, oh. The cat's out of the bag, yes. Literally and metaphorically in both of our instances. How'd you get out of that bag? Just joking. I don't put my cat in the bag. But let's see, Glendale, Kentucky. Oh, cool. Oh, I bet that was pretty cool. My mom actually lived in an old parsonage one time up in Portsmouth, Ohio, Chillicothe, Ohio. Um, I've always wanted to live in a place like that has some kind of really wild, intense history, but no such luck, unfortunately. Thomas, you got a story? Hop in the box. Guest box is open. Anybody wants to come up and tell a spooky story? We want to hear your spookiest spooky story, the one that scared you the most, the one you'll never forget. That's the one we want to hear. Guest box is open. Feel free to hop in.
You need 200 followers, Thomas.
Oh, does he not have
Unfortunately.
200? Oh, okay. Yeah, gotta have 200 at least. Yeah, just Thomas, follow along, and when you get to 200, come back and come up and tell us. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts, get some people in here.
Should I tell them the food conspiracy theory we were talking about the other night when I was talking about the pizza, the Chuck E. Cheese pizza?
Absolutely, you should.
Well, I was telling Sarah about that Shane Dawson video he did years back where he was talking about the Chuck E. Cheese pizza and how they kind of they take the pizza that people don't eat and then they kind of put it together to make a new one and serve it to new customers. And I was just telling Sarah that I really don't doubt that, and I feel like a lot of restaurants do that kind of thing with, serving old breadsticks that somebody else didn't eat, or tortilla chips and stuff like that. Yeah, see, come on, my members. I believe it. I'm just saying. I think it's true. And I think I got one of those pizzas one time too. So,
Why do you say that? What happened to your pizza?
well, this was actually from Cece's Pizza. Do you guys have Cece's where you live, Sarah? Yeah. Um, I ordered a pizza from there, and I went to go pick it up. And when I got home and opened it, I swear it looked like it was Frankenstein together. Like the pieces didn't even match, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" I mean, I ate it because but still, I mean, oh man, I should have taken a picture of it to show you.
Yeah, sounds like you should have taken a picture and showed the manager. Put on your Karen haircut and be like, I want to talk to the manager. You gave me a
For
half-eaten,
sure.
pieced together pizza. I would. That's creepy. I wouldn't touch it. Get all kinds of germs off of a half-eaten pizza. Oh, we got a guest.
Hello.
It doesn't look like it's connecting.
No.
Guest, I'm going to drop you. Come back in the box because it's not connecting for some reason. So just re-request and we'll try it again.
Yes, Cat Mama. CC's is the buffet. Sarah, did you ever hear about that finger that some lady found in her Wendy's chili?
Um, maybe I don't know. It kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, she tried to sue Wendy's, and they ended up finding out that she planned the whole thing. It was like her husband's finger, because I guess he had
Wow.
yeah, I guess he had like, hey, we can use this and try to get money, like from a lawsuit, but it didn't work.
God, that's pretty awful. Chick-fil-A sauce. I do remember in the late 80s, there was a rumor going around that Wendy's burgers were made out of earthworms. Does anybody else remember that?
What the heck?
Yeah, Wendy's meat apparently, allegedly, it was made out of earthworms. But, of course they said it wasn't true because why would they admit to something like that? But who knows? Maybe it really was. I've never eaten a burger from Wendy's, so I would not know. But um, tell me somewhere haunted I should stay. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're close to. The TJ remembers that. Oh wow, Harry, that's gross.
What the heck? That happened at Albertsons. At the Albertsons that I worked at, some guy was cutting deli meat, and he cut. Well, I don't know if I should be so graphic, but he sliced his palm off. Yeah, and then everybody was starting a rumor at work that like they ended up serving it to customers, but that's not true. People are such liars. That's why you got to take every story with a grain of salt, right? Right, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, delis are dangerous. Holy cow. Guest box is open, guys. Come tell us your alien abduction story, or if you have a paranormal story, an extraterrestrial story, a cryptid story, glitch in the matrix story, or if you just have a story that's like not paranormal but it's super creepy and you just want to talk about it, feel free to come up and tell us that one too. Um,
Any Dan Schneider stories?
Dan Schneider stories.
I'm just kidding. It's from that documentary I'm watching. Who else is watching that documentary, by the way? That what's it called? Quiet on Set.
Hmm.
Yeah, that guy's a weirdo.
I feel like I don't need to watch it because I see all the TikToks about it, so it's like I see all of it now through
Yeah.
TikTok, but I haven't watched it. Jake has a paranormal story, kind of. Well, we would like to hear it as long as it is spooky.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it is. It is very, very spooky. So y'all know the Annabelle doll, correct?
Mm-hmm.
My great great grandmother actually taught the man who made the first Annabelle doll how to make those types of dolls. Which she is from a country called Germany, and it was pretty known during her time frame in Germany. Don't involve anything evil or something with bad juju. And whenever she was asked for an interview, because the guy was like, "Hey, this woman taught me how to make the dolls in the beginning," da 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 da. She was like, "No, I don't want nothing to do with it." So I think that's pretty cool that my great grandmother kind of had something to do with teaching that man how to make the Annabelle dolls, which they're called Raggedy Anns nowadays. The second, I guess, paranormal experience I've had, I live in a town called Robards, Kentucky, which is a very small town in Kentucky. I guess you'd say it's really not paranormal per se. It's just kind of like how kids see things. When I was little, I would talk about a guy named John Riverson. John Riverson was actually a part of a group, the Jesse James clan. And right there on my property, he was killed in a little barn. We still have the barn to this day. But anyway, as a kid, I would always go, John Riverson, but no one knew what I was talking about or who I was talking about. And my aunt wanted to put something in the ground. I'm not sure if it was a new septic system or what, but she happened to have a person that would scan the ground, look for, anything out of the norm, like extra piping or something that couldn't be dug up. And he started scanning the ground, and right where that barn used to set or still sets, it's pretty dilapidated now. It's been torn down for years now. But when it was still standing, he put his little, machine across the ground, and sure enough, there was a skeleton laying there. And they dug it up, and lo and behold, that skeleton belonged to a guy named John Riverson, who betrayed Jesse James and was shot and killed on the back of my property. But and the weird thing was, I wouldn't say anything else. I would just point outside to the barn and go, John Riverson, and just giggle, like laughing hysterically, like something was so funny to me. And no one could figure out who it was until that day. The second kind of, I would call it a demonic experience, is whenever my brother and I was little. My brother was, old enough to, set up by himself and play by himself. And there was a man that really terrified me. I called it the boogeyman, or the man with the sharp teeth. And my great grandmother was very, spiritual and very, what's the word, Christian, you would say. So she believed in, exorcisms, and if something goes wrong, pray to God. Well, anyway, me and my brother were sitting on the bed, just playing with our little whatever toys we had. And I got down off the bed, went to go grab some juice, from Nana, which is we called her Nana. And we realized that my brother was not on the bed no more. And my grandmother and, grandfather are freaking out, cannot find him whatsoever. And apparently the door was open. We don't know how the door got open, because he's too small to get to the lock stringy thing. And so they bolt outside, and they hear laughing, like a child laughing. And so they run to the sound, which is where our garage is at. They open the door, nothing's there. And they're freaking out, calling 911, trying to get people out there to, help find him, because he's considered missing at this point in time. And we run back inside because we hear like this big old bam, and where he fell from didn't make sense. Which we had, CT. I'm trying to think of how to say it. See the little the cameras that go back and forth in your home. It was the old style type of security system, and on the security system, you see him getting dragged under the bed as I'm walking out, and then getting put back up onto the roof, like his butt is on top of the ceiling. And as we're looking around for him, it's kind of like he's trying to make sound, but he can't because something's holding him up there. And then he just falls. So those are pretty much the scary stories that I have, and a little bit of history about Annabelle and where it comes from. And that's all I got.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any concerns?
I think it's really cool what you were saying about Raggedy Ann. I had a Raggedy Ann and Andy when I was a kid, so
Yeah.
very cool.
And after all those experiences, we had a priest come out and bless the house and put holy water on on me and my brothers, foreheads, and started praying, and it never really left me, if that makes sense. Like I still occasionally, out of the corner of my eye, see him, John Riverson, and I considered him the protector, because if the man with the sharp teeth was around, John Riverson wasn't too far behind, if that makes sense. And so I feel like he was the protector. And once the house was blessed and his body was properly buried, both of them left. But I occasionally see John Riverson, but the man with the sharp teeth, there was a gentleman that worked for the police department that kind of wanted to figure out, because he was into the paranormal a lot. He wanted to do a sketch of it, and he had a sketch artist come out, and apparently the man with the sharp teeth was actually a demon, or a servant of a demon. I can't say its name because I'm that superstitious. I'm trying to think how to say it without actually saying the name. It starts with a V, and I think I've heard of the name before. I'm trying to think how to say it. I'm sorry. I'm just very superstitious, and I'm trying to think how to say the demon's name without actually saying it.
Is
But
it
anyways.
Valak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was one of its servants. And they actually looked it up in a book, and yeah, that was one of its little servants. But
Very
yeah.
interesting. Very,
And
very
if,
interesting.
and if y'all would like, I can tell you more stories, because in the town I live in, a lot of creepy things have happened. But I know that you have a lot of people wanting to come up too, so I don't want to interrupt them as well.
Actually, the box is clear now. If you want to tell another one, feel free.
Okay. Sure. I got several, because, like I said, the little town I grew up in, a lot of crazy, weird things happen, because I guess it's like a hot spot. Because there's like a lot of, I guess what you'd call Romeo and Juliet situations going on, where someone was in love and then somebody got unalived, or it was a capital murder or whatever. There's a school. I believe y'all can still look it up if it's still searchable on Google, but it's the Old Robards School in Robards, Kentucky. That school was actually known for creating not so pleasant things for the Germans that came from World War II to America to flee from the war. The people did not want the type of Germans that didn't want to have anything to do with the funny mustache man at all. They wanted to escape it because it was just so cruel. They used to make a lot of nerve gases in that school. Before it was a school, they used to do a lot of torture methods. For the longest time, they started to, excavate it before the school was built and try to, build that school on that property. And for the longest time, when they started digging up the ground, they found multiple cans and, barrels of stuff that had radiation in it. And to the point where they had, I'm going to say, a good 7 or 8 miles of the road just blocked off for years, until it was all cleaned up. And I remember going, walking, from the local, little truck stop, got a plus pie and would bring it back to my house to eat from school. And there were these mean ass kids. I mean, they were like the town bullies, if that makes sense. And they were like, "Oh, I dare y'all to go over there and climb the fence," which was very illegal to do. And we was like, "No, we don't want to do it. Y'all can do it if y'all want to. I'm not going to do it." And they stole my pie. Well, I was pretty upset. And lo and behold, after they crossed that fence, it was pretty, foggy from like all the stuff that was just sitting there on the ground because it just happened to burst. And one minute we see them, next minute we don't. Hours go by. I mean, hours. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it finally hit about, I'm going to say 12 o'clock. And their parents are running out looking for them. They can't find them nowhere. And they pretty much sent, people in hazmat suits, the police department and fire department out there in hazmat suits, and they cannot find those boys anywhere. They're still missing to this day. After almost, I'm going to say 10 years. After it's all cleaned up and everything, they cannot find these boys nowhere.
Holy cow.
It's known on a little strip called 283. If you go out between the time of 10 to 11 on that strip of road, if you have your headlights not on the bright, not on the low beam setting, but kind of on like the fog setting, and you slowly drive by, you will see not one, not two, but 3 children as you're going by cross the street. And then you drive a little bit more, those same 3 children will cross the street again, but on opposite sides. It's like they're running past the cars and then doing it again over and over and over until you hit the final end of that stretch of road. And I've actually done this, drove down that road, and yeah, sure enough, it's 2 girls and 1 boy that are in white clothing, just going zoop. You go a few feet down the road, zoop. It's just weird. Let me think of another story I can probably tell y'all, because this town is bizarre. The stuff I have seen, it's scary. The train tracks out there was I really can't say it was it was kind of like a future telling, if that makes sense, because there was on the train tracks back in 2000, I'm going to say in 2007, there was a family that got hit by a train out there. That's why they had to put the guardrails up. But before they had the guardrails up, they was in a SUV type vehicle and was hit by the train. And a few weeks prior, probably about 2 or 3 weeks prior to them getting hit, me and my aunt would go down to the house to go help grandma out or whatever, and we would see this family kind of in tattered clothing, and the children would look very sad and like, where am I type of thing. And we'd drive by them every day, and we'd say, are y'all okay? But they wouldn't speak to us. We would scream, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Can we help y'all?" And they would just turn and look at us had like this facial expression. Can't freaking talk. Facial expression of loss and sadness and confusion. And weeks later, yeah, that car got hit, and they had I guess the family photo in the papers, and yeah, sure enough, it was them. It was pretty much a future telling of a ghost story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, someone in the comments was asking if it was like a premonition or something.
I don't know, but it was kind of like, because we never saw them, and I guess they was new to town because I remember seeing when I was driving past, whenever my aunt and I were driving past one night, moving trucks heading to the old Wickerson farm, which we thought, the Wickersons were still alive and everything, and but apparently they've passed away, and and they moved out there, and sure enough, the story goes the father and mother and the kids were going out and going to get something from the store, which is the store right across the railroad tracks, and their car just died, and no one could figure out why the car died, but apparently the train didn't see them or didn't have the lights on and could not stop in time, and I mean just plowed into them. And that's pretty much the part that's kind of like, oh, because every time I see someone out in the railroad, beside the railroad tracks, I'm always like saying, "Hey, y'all okay?" Just to make sure they're not, getting ready to tell a story of the future. Because there's been times where it's like, "Hello, you need any help?" No one answers, and sometimes it's like, "Yeah, my tire's flat," and I'm just kind of like, "Okay, you can see me. You understand what I'm saying? Cool, great, lovely, grand." But there's a lot more stories that I'm trying to think of because that means so much has happened. I'm trying to think. A little town in Seabury was known to hold demonic, I guess you'd call it sanctuaries. And that's probably why our town is the biggest, pretty much the biggest, spookiest town in the state of Kentucky, because I mean they would hold satanic rituals and would put pentagrams everywhere, and I think it created a portal. But if y'all would like, if anybody in the even you or the person below me or anybody in the group chat would like to come down to Robards, Kentucky, y'all are more than welcome to. I'll be living down there for a good minute, so come find me.
Yeah, I may actually venture out that way at some point because I'm in Lexington. So.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Well, nice to meet you. What else is there? There's the abandoned hospital that no one wants to go to because they hear a woman screaming. Not sure what that story is about, but yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about that abandoned hospital. I guess it was like a sane asylum back in the day, but yeah, that's just because I've heard the stories, it's just kind of like I don't want to go out there. One story that I remember someone telling me was they was trying to go out there, to block it off or board up all the windows and doors because people kept getting in there. Homeless people would go in there and stay the night and stuff. And I guess some way somehow they thought the place was empty, and a woman, I guess, went berserk and started chasing people, excuse my French, butt ass naked. And whenever the cops were called, they searched the place high and low, could not find this woman. Only thing they said that they could describe her as was very wicked looking and torn, if that makes sense. Like her body did not look like it had enough nourishment, or she looked very dehydrated. And yeah, that's that. But yeah, if my phone don't die, I could probably tell y'all some more stories. But
Well, we appreciate you coming up and definitely hang out. We usually get some pretty crazy stories in here. I don't know if you're new here, but stick around. And if you want to charge your phone or whatever and come back later, that's perfectly fine.
yeah, because if I try to talk or charge my phone, it's just going to die even quicker. I'm like, no. It's on 3%. I guess I can tell one
Yeah.
more until the I guess the phone dies. If it cuts off, it cuts
Okay.
off. I'm trying to think of one that's really good. I've told about the Annabelle doll. What else is there? Uh, well, it's not really a spooky story. It's kind of like a what the hell story. So like I said, this town is known for the crazy and weird, if that makes sense. Um, there was out there on the Wicker farm, there was a house right probably about a few miles down the road that was known for its how would you say awkwardness, and the guy there was kind of like a hermit, didn't really want nobody on his property, didn't really want nobody to be on his land, even close to it. um, a lot of children went missing, and rumor went around that he did it and all these things. um, and when the police would investigate, because he had a pig farm, they really couldn't, they checked the pig manure and stuff like that, and couldn't find anything. And for the longest time, they would accuse him of the most oddest things because he was just so weird. And when he did speak or was friendly, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go this way now, have a good day. But lo and behold, on whenever he was on his deathbed and he finally passed away, I guess it was like a distant relative of his or somebody was out there, going through the property, going through all this stuff to see what they could sell. And they found in the walls people, children to be exact. He used their bodies as plaster.
Oh, holy cow.
I
Wait, I
saw
gotta
your
Google
face.
this.
I, I saw your face. Yeah, it only aired in the newspapers for some reason. It never aired on the news or anything. It was just in the local paper. I can't remember what the paper used to be called back then, but it's changed so much. Oh, what's that? What's that? What could I give you to look up in the article? What was the paper's name? Shit. Oh, it wasn't the Gleaner, because that's the paper it is now. But what was it called? Oh, I can't remember.
If you ever come across it, send it to me in
Yeah,
a message because I would
yeah,
love to look into that. That is really disturbing and
yeah.
strange. It
No,
wasn't all that long ago, too. There was something in the news. I think it was in Western Kentucky or maybe around Louisville, but
Mhm.
there was a person who I guess had like a bunch of bodies in their house. I don't know if anybody heard about that, but that was here in Kentucky. It was like within the last 6 months. That was a really ominous
Okay, so
story.
so Louisville is 3 hours away from me, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Nicole Davis, only children. So no, it was pretty much the children were like the foundation, if that makes sense, and he used them like to like fill the hose. Like he had like a bunch of hose, and he would like put the children in there, like kind of like line them up in like a Tetris kind of way, and then put plaster over them to like make the foundation of his home.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, it's like I said, my town is weird. Uh, but I mean, I haven't lived there in I'm going to move back there in 2 more days. I'm in Texas with my wife taking care of financial responsibilities due to her father. But yeah, if I happen to go past the old, oh shit, it just died.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
That was pretty
Well,
good.
I guess yeah, okay. Well, hopefully you get that phone on charge, you get some juice cranking into it.
Yeah, you got a last word in there.
Yeah. Wow. That was did not see that last story coming. Holy cow. I gotta
Yeah.
Google that or something. I'll probably never find it though, because, and I know what he's talking about. There's this strange phenomenon in Kentucky where weird things will happen and then it'll never make the news. And it's almost like Kentucky is a little bit of a void in and of itself. And things just disappear. It's like weird things happen and then nobody ever tells anybody and it kind of stays within the border. But, Matt Bortles, yes, you did miss a crazy story. You're going to have to listen to the replay of this one for sure. But we had a person popped in and then they disappeared. I don't know where they went. Come back, whoever you were. Everybody tap the screen. I'm having a sinus problem, like I don't know, like an allergy attack. So sorry if I'm like snorting into the microphone. Uh, Guys, tap the screen, send some hearts, get some people in here. More hearts means more people, means more spooky stories. Also, I got to get better at this. You guys, if you are into horror stuff, you have to follow my wonderful co-host, Horror Chris. He's doing all kinds of cool stuff here on TikTok and all the other video plays. And also, we have to start showing Tully some love, so go over and follow Weird Realities. Can someone type that? Like Tully, maybe like put your link or something in the chat so everybody can follow you. And also, you will notice somewhere on the top of the screen, I have my subscription thing set up. So if you like this channel and you want to support it and you enjoy coming here, maybe consider subscribing. If you subscribe, you get lots of cool emojis and Mothman. You get a Mothman emoji. What's cooler than that? But but yeah, guest box is open. If everybody, anybody out there has a spooky story, preferably an alien abduction story, that's what we're in the mood for tonight. But we also do paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, glitch in the matrix, and any and all things spooky. We have a guest.
Hi, Sam.
Hear me?
Yeah, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know this is not really typically the content that you guys have or what you're looking for at the moment. I'm at work, so you'll have to bear with me. I grew up in a house my dad and my mother tore down. They tore down a funeral home in Whitesboro, Texas, if you're familiar with the Texas area. Whitesboro is a very small town. My dad was in construction, tore down a house brick by brick, board by board, and was able to keep the materials and built a house in Tioga, Texas, the home of Gene Autry. Built a house in Tioga, Texas, out of this funeral home he tore apart. And when I tell you from a very young age of 3 years old that paranormal activity was present, things in movies, yeah, they happen and it kind of depicts some of the things, but this house was off the chain. And as a young child, being able to see things that adults couldn't, it was a very scary thing to be able to see things that you can't explain or even much less truly understand. Because they would definitely make themselves known, especially if you were afraid. They would become stronger, so to speak. And I don't know why that is. It just is. Can you imagine being a young child, growing up in a house where a TV would turn on by itself and you're in a room by yourself? It's a scary thing to have stuff like that happen. Doors just open and shut on their own, sometimes open and slam shut. It was a horrible thing to grow up as a child to live in that environment. What's even worse is when your parents don't believe you until they do. So paranormal activity in that house was, I don't know. I guess when they tore that funeral home down, it made that house like a portal, I guess, for things that are not here anymore, or people that are here not here anymore that want to be here, would be my only assumption at that point. Hello?
Yeah. So, do you have like a specific story you want to tell about it? Because it sounds like it's pretty active there.
It was very
Getting along.
active from day one. There's a lot of times in a dream state that these things would reveal themselves, even into the witching hour was when it was the strongest, between 12 and 3 a.m. That's when the activity got the worst. That's when there was more activity than any other time. Around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah, you're not going to go to sleep. Not for a while. They'll definitely get your attention. Cups would slide off the desk and land on the floor. TVs would turn on, turn all the way up, turn down, turn off. And I would get in trouble as a child all the time because of my stupid TV. And I got to the point where I would just unplug it when I went to bed, because I knew if I didn't, the thing was going to come on and turn all the way up again. It wouldn't matter if, it was a matter of when. But I had one particular story. I went to sleep and fell into a deep sleep. I had a recurring dream in that house for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years. The same dream over and over every night. And then it shifted. It'd go from one into the next, but it was the same one over and over and over on repeat. But there's one specific time that was worse than the others, that I woke up and I had a burn mark of a hand on my arm. And my mother, she blamed it on a little plug-in heater I had, but the plug-in heater was 6 feet away from my bed. There's no possible way that could even cause the red handprint on my arm when I woke up. It
Yeah,
felt
that's
like a
wild.
sunburn. It felt like a sunburn is what it felt like. And there were plenty of times that, there was scratching involved, biting. Sheets would get pulled off my bed at any given moment. It started with the little things, and then it's progressed into worse. But the worst never got, like you see these movies, what is it, The Exorcist? No, there was none of that. It was just little stuff to irritate and scare you out of your mind. But that's as far as I got. Beyond the scratching and the biting, it never got any worse than that. But that was bad enough. I can only imagine what some people go through.
I've never heard biting before. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been bit a few times. Scratching. And most of the scratches weren't like, how we have as humans, we got 4 fingers and opposing thumb. These would
Yeah.
always be in connection. The scratch marks was always threes. It was never 4 like a regular hand. So that's what I didn't understand that for a long time until later in life, what that possibly could have meant. But still to this day, I really don't have an explanation for it.
Right, it's like
Not
considered
plausible.
demonic, right?
Yes, it's a mockery of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's a mockery of God.
Right.
But to those that are agnostic or even atheists, don't believe in God, until something like that happens to them. I mean, even now, having read the Bible and gone to church a few times, even now, scientifically, I have no explanation for it. None.
Yeah, that's wild. Sorry you do that though.
Oh yeah, well, it was a learning experience. It was. Yeah, these entities that were walking in and through and out of that house, it was just like a total portal. I'd wake up as a child, 3 years old, 4 years old, wake up and I would see 10, 12 pairs of eyes in my bedroom. they'd wake me up, and then there they are, just standing there watching me. That's creepy enough as it is. You see that, and I'd run in my mom's dad's bedroom, and it didn't get any better in there because I could still see them. And as an adult, it doesn't bother me as much. I had an old guy that was kind of a mentor to me later on in life. He said, if you stare, he made a statement. He said, if you stare long enough into the abyss will stare into you. Don't pay attention to them, pay no mind. Then we'll bother you. Huh.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
that was a creepy life I lived as a child growing up. I thought that was it's a pretty interesting story. That house was full of activity. If anybody were to ever go there, truly go there, and spend a night or two, they would understand.
Yeah, Sarah, looks like we're getting a road trip.
Yeah, I would definitely like to check out something that's allegedly that haunted. It sounds very, very fun to me.
For sure.
So, are y'all like ghost hunters, or what exactly is it that you do?
Yeah, I was a ghost hunter for quite a long time. Chris is kind of a paranormal noob, but I don't know. Chris, you're a paranormal noob, aren't you? Sort of.
Yes, I'm very interested in the paranormal, but yeah, she's the professional here.
Oh yeah, very
Okay.
professional.
So what I mean, like, there are a lot of people that are into certain things. Like, there are many people across the planet that are gifted. You have clairvoyance and so forth. And then you have people that have day visions, night visions, people that can see things into the past, see the future when they're in a dream state, whether it's during waking hours where it seems like you're having it's kind of like when you drive and you lose track of time. You go, well, where'd that last 30 miles go? It's what we call day visions. You're actually seeing something, whether it's 10 minutes from now or 10 years from now, you're actually seeing things that are being shown to you. And then there are times that I have that. And then, a year or two down the line, I remember that. It's deja vu. I've had this conversation before. I know exactly what this person's fixing to say. I've had that happen numerous times, but there are other people that are just gifted in numerous ways. Some people can sense things when they go to a property. They can sense if there's spirits there, if they're, whether they have bad intentions, good intentions. Some people see auras. So, are you gifted yourself, ma'am?
No, I don't think so.
Not in that capacity. Just curious.
No, yeah, I'm just really into the occult and the paranormal and stuff like that. And I guess I'm just searching for answers. I don't know.
Oh, okay. As we all are, everybody wants to know what lies beyond this world. I think that's a lot of us. In that town that I grew up in, there was a certain specific cult I remember, being warned about when I was a child. And this specific cult, for whatever reason, I think it had to do with initiation, would cut off their pinky finger at the knuckle. That was what I was told as a child. And as I started growing older, I started seeing people around the town, just normal people that had businesses, older folks, that had missing fingers. And I'm like, is that a part of them too? God, have mercy, man. I'd run into a few cult members and between the town that I lived in and a few others that lived 40 miles away from where I grew up at. And there's some weird stuff out there, man. Weird stuff. One of the cult members in our town, I don't know what possessed him to do this, but this is a true story, fact that happened. This guy and his wife was part of a cult. She was pregnant. He shot her with a 12 gauge in his house, which was a trailer house, killed her and the baby. Cop went by, was too scared to, small town police officer, was too scared to do anything because he didn't know what this guy was capable of. So a few days later, he got felt guilty. He called the FBI. They kicked the door in, and he was sitting there. She'd been dead, I don't know how long. He was eating breakfast right by there with her right there on the kitchen floor, right by where he killed her at. And they arrested him and put him in prison. And he was a part of that cult too, from what we were told.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Oh, is there an
Well,
echo?
we
Is there an
really,
echo, Sarah?
yeah, there's a pretty bad echo. We really appreciate you coming up and sharing all that with us, though. Hopefully, you hang around
Yeah.
in the comments and listen to some stories. We get some pretty good ones in here. So,
Oh,
but thank you so much for coming up.
absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on. Y'all have a blessed night.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the audio tonight. We're having a little bit of an issue. Hopefully, it straightens up because makes me a sad panda. Welcome, werewolf.
Oh,
Werewolf.
hello, Boo Crew. How's it going?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Um, so this story I'm about to tell you, I got excited when I was thinking about it because I remember in the past I had told you that I hadn't had an experience in like a while, like 10 or 15 years or something like that. But this story took place maybe like 7 years ago. And I was like, yeah, because I was living in the same apartment. So in other words, this is probably the most recent experience I had. And this was like 7 years ago. Um, I was going to there's this like crystal shop, which sadly went out of business during the pandemic, so it's no longer with us. But they used to like to sell crystals, and they do like tarot card readings. I was going there to get a tarot card reading. And when I walked in, I went to the front desk, and she's like, "Oh, can I help you with anything?" Blah, blah, blah. I told her I want a tarot card reading, and she's like, "Oh, both of our people are busy right now, but as soon as they're ready or as soon as they're available, like we'll let you know." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no problem." So I'm like going around the store, and the way the store is set up is the floor is like where the crystals are, and then there's like you go up 2 steps maybe, and there's a little back room that has like bookcases, and there's a table, and that's where like they do like a tarot card reading there, I guess. But it's kind of weird because there's like people walking around, and it's like there's not really a lot of privacy, and I thought that was a little odd, but whatever, I guess, like so I'm waiting, and then I decide, since everyone's walking around, I'm gonna go look for a book to like look through while I'm waiting. And when I go up there, the tarot card reader goes, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just looking for a book." And he's like, "Oh well, we're doing a reading right now, sorry." And I'm like, "Oh okay." But I didn't think it was a big deal because there's like other people walking around too. So like, but I guess I don't know if they're employees or like they're friends of the people. I don't know. So anyways, I just grab a book real fast, and I go back down to the crystal area, and I'm like waiting. That girl gets done with her reading, and then she leaves, and then everyone's walking around, and then she's asking me if I'm waiting to get my cards read, and I go up there, and she's like, "Oh, so what do you whatever," asking me like what I want to ask the cards, and this blonde lady comes up and starts like whispering in her ear, and then she starts like reading my cards. And there's these 2 people like walking like very close to the table, and like they're taking turns, and they'll like talk to each other, and then they'll like whisper in her ear. And I'm like very distracted by this, also because it's like just like it's like very, very not intimate. And I'm like, "Oh, so like is it just like people, like do you guys all work here, or like what, like what's going on?" And she goes, "What do you mean?" And I was like these people, like who are these other people here? And then she goes, "There are no other people here. What do you mean?" And I go, "You don't see this man right here?" And there's like a black man wearing a dashiki and like a little hat, kind of like like Aladdin's hat in the movie Aladdin, the cartoon, like that same shape, except it wasn't like a red one. It's like it's sort of like an African design where it's like a design, and it kind of matched his dashiki. And then there's this like tall blonde lady, and she's the one who came and like whispered in the tarot card reader's ear. And I'm like, and there's this blonde lady who, whatever, and I'm describing her, and then she goes, "Oh, that must be, is that?" And she says some name, and when she says that name, the blonde lady starts nodding her head like yes, and I go, "Yeah, she's not." I was like, "Wait, you don't see her?" And then she goes, "No, but if that's," I forget what the name was. if that's blah blah blah, that's my spirit guide. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like looking at them, and they look kind of like freaked out that I can see them. And they start, both of them start covering their faces. And I'm like, oh, they're like covering their faces. And then she's like, oh, that means that like they don't want you to see them. And I'm like, oh, should I look away? And so I'm like, I look down, and then I'm like, so like, should I just look down? And I go, and then when I look back up, they're gone. And I go, okay, they're gone. I can't see them anymore. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then I'm just kind of like, that was weird. And then she starts to do like read my tarot cards, but like maybe like 2 minutes in, I go, I'm sorry, that was really weird. Like that was very distracting. I don't know if I could like actually am gonna remember anything you're talking about right now, because like my heart is racing and like that was like very odd. Is it okay if I just like cancel and like we don't like I can do this another day, because like I just don't think I'm gonna be able to retain anything you're talking about right now. And she goes, yeah, that's totally fine, I get it. And then I just left. And then as I was leaving, I heard her and the person who was working, the girl who was working the front desk being like, oh my God. Well, and they had to like go talk about it. But yeah.
You have the best stories,
Thank you.
honestly.
Yeah, so that it's interesting because like, sometimes they talk to me, but in that one it was almost like they were in the room and they like both like refused to talk to me and like didn't want me to see them. And yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, you've seen deceased people pretty much, right? From the stories that you've told us. Have you ever seen anything like scary?
No, not personally.
No, just like regular people, pretty much.
Yeah, they look like regular people. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so cool, man. I love your stories.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there's that echo again. What is going on, TikTok? Holy cow.
It's me. It's probably me, Sarah.
I don't think it's you. That's it. That was a good question, though, Chris. I never thought of that. But yeah, that's really cool that all of the encounters that Werewolf has had, they're always like, they're just people. They're not like anything scary or whatever. That's really interesting to me.
Right. It's like that movie, The Sixth Sense. Well, I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I don't think it's connecting. Guest, if you want, come back up. I'm going to drop you because it's not connecting. Feel free to come back in the box, though. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello?
Welcome.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you for having me. So this is where we tell stories about what we've experienced.
Yeah, we want to hear your spookiest spooky story.
Oh
Yes.
boy, you got the right guy here. All right, so I don't know. I tell people all the time, spirit world is definitely for real. I've been seeing spirits since I've been about 7, 8 years old, up until now, and I'm 51 right now. It's normal for me, but there's out of maybe God knows how many stories, how many instances I've had. This one that kind of stuck out, and this is when the time I was living, happened in Queens, New York. I believe it happened from around the years between 2008 and 2010. And I was just moved to this new tenement building there. It's right on the water. You know about Far Rockaway, Queens. It's a little peninsula. We got the ocean on one side, the bay on the other. Well, the building that I lived in happened to be right on the bay side. I could throw a fishing pole out the window and go fishing if I wanted to. But we had a nice little encampment in the back there that we built from the hands up, from the floor, from the ground up, made of wood and different materials. We used to hang out there. We had a little club back there. The guys would meet every day, fish and drink and talk smack, whatever. So I would say one day I went back there. This was after a while, after I got to know everybody, and we were all underneath the hut with our poles in the water, and it was coming on to maybe 5, 6 in the evening, and I said to a guy I had got to know really well back there. I said, "Hey man, do me a favor, watch my pole. I'm gonna go, use the bathroom." So I walked a ways off, and it was low tide. I walked into a bushy area, and I did my business. And when I was turning around to come back, I saw a little boy sitting on some rocks. And I never forget, he looked very, very sad. He had his chin he had his chin in between both hands, and his elbows was on his knees. And he looked so sad, like he had lost his best friend. Like, life just was messed up for him. And I'm staring at him. And then all of a sudden, I guess he felt me looking at him. And when he saw that I could see him, he jumped up and he got so scared and he walked away. But here's the thing. Where he walked into the sky because there's about a 10-foot drop. He was sitting at the edge because the tide was low. And when he walked off that cliff, he should have fell. But he walked off the cliff and was walking normally, and then he just disappeared. He faded away. I said, wow. So I get back to the encampment, and the guy that I had watching my fishing pole, like I said, I became to know him, pretty well. We hung out, outside of the bay in different places, doing different things. So I said to him, I said, brother, he said, what's up? I said, I hope you ain't gonna think I'm crazy, man. He said, what happened? I said, when I was over there using the bathroom, I saw this little boy. And he was sitting there. I described the boy to him, told him what the boy did. He was like, for real? I said, yeah, man. He said, hey, man, I believe you. So, all right, that was that. The day ended. We went upstairs, all right? Went to sleep. Next day, get up, dress, do it all over again. I couldn't get to the bay fast enough before everybody there bombarded me. They said, hey, man, you saw a little boy, blah, blah, blah. They said, describe him. So I described him. And come to find out, they said that's a little boy had just drowned in that bay a couple of years ago before I got there. And they said the way you describe him is that's what he used to look like. But I don't know if they could get in contact with the family or whatever to verify with a picture. It never happened. But some of the people back there obviously knew him. They said he was a little boy just like that. He lived right in this building right here. He drowned back here about 2-3 years ago. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that was him. So that's my little story. I wanted to add.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad and so
Yeah.
haunting, and wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes you think about everything you hear about the afterlife. Maybe somebody come get you, you see an angel or this or that. But this little kid was just by himself. He was very, very alone. And he looked very confused, like he didn't know what to do with himself. So I don't know. But spirit is one of those things that we can't understand until we get there. But thanks for letting me share, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a good night. Wow.
I like that one.
Yeah. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Archangel.
All right, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. The guy that just left, the guy before the guy who just left, I can verify everything he's saying. In terms of the paranormal, all of that, I've been going through this it was so gratifying to hear him say that, because every time I talk about it, I get a little nervous because I've been experiencing everything that he has experienced, but times 5 since I was a kid. One of my first encounters, my first encounter that I can remember, I was around 8 years old. There was a fish market on the corner, and my mother was pregnant with one of my siblings at the time. And as you know, if you have a child, as a woman, you have these urges. You know, you may want to pick at 12 o'clock at night or a piece of pizza or something like that. And she wanted a fish sandwich, and she just had to have it. And she asked me to run up to the fish market, to Nancy's Fish Market, and get a fish sandwich. So I put my clothes on, ran up there to get it. It was snowing. If you're from the north, you understand, like when it snows in the midwinter, when it's like 20 something degrees, the snow is like really sparkling like diamonds at night. And then when you walk through it, you can hear crunch. So on the way, I was a little, so when I got to the fish market, she had called ahead. The fish sandwich was already ready. I paid for it. But the moment I walked out the door, it seemed like I was entering like another dimension or something. Like the air started to wave, it seemed. Like I could see the air. And everything started to move. And I said, my God, what's going on? So as I was walking back home, every step I took, there was someone in back of me taking a step. And when I looked around, I saw footsteps, but I didn't see anyone, like it was some kind of invisible man or something. And I stopped, and I looked, and I just took another step, and you can hear the snow crunch. And when I took another step, I heard the snow in back of me crunch. And I looked around and I ran. And when I started to run, I could see the snow in back of me kind of stir up like flour or something like that. And I took it as this entity or whatever it was. It started to run behind me. So I ran upstairs real quick, opened the door, and I was breathing hard. Mom said, Ozzy, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, Mom, somebody's following me. And she said, come on now. We know everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody knows you. Come on now. And see, that's one thing when you experience stuff like this, people never really believe you. And that's where I am right now. It seems like I'm on an island by myself because the stuff that I experience is like, it would blow most people's mind. And the only way I can hold on to myself, to my sanity, is through prayer. And who all say that who they don't believe in a higher power is wrong, because there's a name that's above all names that separates the demons from the angels. Now let me explain that. After that first encounter, let me fast forward a couple years. My father passed, and I was sitting alone. And have you ever went swimming, and when you go underwater, you can't hear anything? And it seemed like I was underwater, and this voice said, Ozzy, everything is going to be okay. Don't worry. And I was like shocked, like who in the hell was that? Excuse my expression in TikTok. Who in the heck was that? Let's fast forward. I was laying in the bed with my girl, Gigi, and she got up and left for work before I left for work. When she left, I was kind of laying around, and then this cloud walks in the room, just came in the room and just stood there. And I started to ask the questions like, what's your name? Can I help you? Why are you here? And it did not respond to me. And it just stayed there and looked at me. It was like in a silhouette of a person. But it was like a white cloud that you can touch and run your hand through, just like the clouds in the sky. But it was shaped like a person. And then it just stood there. And I wasn't in an altered state or anything like that. It just stood there, and then it just floated away and disappeared. Now that's the light stuff. I think the gentleman asked about, did you, or you might have said, somebody asked somebody, did you see anything that was very spooky? Wow. On a regular basis, this is where mine is 5 times more deeper than a gentleman before the guy who just left. And I hope he's listening. Like every night, it seems like I'm cursed or I'm blessed to have the ability to look behind this reality that we think is reality, but it's not. How do I know? Because they show me another side, the other side. Like, for instance, the spirits that he's seen, we share the same space and time with them, but they're in another dimension. They're in another dimension. So you say, do you see anything spooky? Well, just 2 weeks ago, I was up, I was watching a basketball game, and I kind of fell asleep, and then I woke up again, and I put the eye cover thing over my eye because my lamp the lamp from the hallway kind of shines my light, so I covered my face with the lamp. I mean, with the eye cover thing that some people wear before they go to bed. And I I imagine I was asleep for like an hour, and then I felt this energy, and I lift my mask up, and it was a soldier standing there. He was in full dress, but he didn't have a head. He stood, and he stood right in front of me. I mean, he had his medals on, everything, full dress. But it wasn't a modern suit. It looked like it was a World War One suit or something like that. But he had no head. And then he turned and he walked downstairs out of the family room, walked down to the living room, and just walked through the walls and just walked away. And then let me go further. I went to bed around 2 months ago, and now these spirits seem to use the television. Most times they come through the television. They use electronics. And then I had went to sleep. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And then I woke up, and then I saw this person on top of the television dancing the Irish dance, the Irish river dance. And he had a white tuxedo on, but he had no eyes. And he was dancing across the top of the television, performing for me, but he had no eyes. No eyes. And on a regular basis, I see things that's yet to come. For instance, 6 months before this pandemic, I predicted it because I seen it. I was laying in bed, and then these spirits came, but they was in a virus kind of form, and they had these tentacles, and they was coming right at me. And then after they kind of dissipated, I looked on the television screen, and I saw I have a 72-inch screen. I saw the whole screen full of skeletons with wings, and they were flying, just like in the movies, across the screen. It was like hundreds and hundreds. The whole screen was full of them. And then I woke up the next morning. And I said, guys, a lot of people is gonna die. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, there's something coming. There's something coming. That nuclear weapons and all the missiles that we have aimed at one another will be moot. They won't even matter because what's coming is going to be something completely different. It's going to be an invasion, I said. So, like 3 months or 2 months before it actually started to happen, I asked my girl Gigi to pick me up mask. And I was actually wearing masks to work. And people were talking about me. They thought I was crazy. I was like, why are you wearing a mask? I mean, what the hell is going on? You have a cold? Do you have the flu? I said, no. I said, you should probably buy some too, because something's coming. And sure enough, did it come? And didn't millions of people die? Um, and it's so I can expect to see something happens to me on a regular basis. Like tonight, I try to get sleep. I don't really sleep at night. I have to wait till daytime to sleep during the day because I see things constantly. I mean, to the point where um, it seems like it's a curse. I don't know if it's a curse or it's what's a blessing. And I'm going to say something that's going to sound really crazy because people think I'm off the wall anyway. But they say that about people with that's that's they have the ability to see uh, to see and predict. But anyway, I'm just going to go all out. Uh, you know the fairies that people talk about, the tooth fairies and all of that? They exist. I see them. I see them. Around 8 of them just was flying all around me with wings, just like in Peter Pan. They actually exist. Absolutely. I've seen it. I've seen demons. They would come at me, and then they would let. They would come right in front of me, and they would stand there, and they would flash their fangs at me, and I wouldn't move because I used the name that's above all name. When I start to do the Lord's prayer, they start to dissipate. They they start to dissolve right in front of my face. But the ones that don't run, when I use the Lord's prayer, those are the ones that I believe to come and help us. For instance, have you ever had a good day and then all of a sudden something happens? That's not by coincidence. That's by design. There are spirits that's here to disrupt our lives. They are sent to disrupt us. They don't want us to be happy. They want us to continue to struggle and search for this illusion of Shangri-La or everybody loving everyone. They don't want that to happen. I see them. They're the black ones that comes. And every time they come, some world events happens. Like I saw, uh, um, um, they showed me, they show me what's going to happen before it happens. Like for instance, I saw this mushroom bomb, and then a week later, Beirut blows up. It happened like 2 years ago. I saw this mushroom bomb, and then they showed it on television. Half of Beirut blew up because they had some stuff in a warehouse or something like that, and the whole place and mushroom. The same thing that I seen. That was the same depiction of what they showed on television. And I was sitting there eating, and I said, "Oh my God, this is nuts." So, so scary stuff. I see scary stuff that's happens all the time. I was walking down the hallway, just I think around 2.5 months ago, and this lady, I know who she is. Her name is Irene. I was walking past my computer room, and I have a computer chair there. And well, a couple of nights before, the computer was cutting on by itself because like I said, I'm up at night and I take little cat naps because I know that some kind of event. It's almost like I'm a watchman. I'm watching like a guardian of the universe or something, trying to protect the human race. That's how I feel. That I'm fighting these spirits for us, and like I'm this human person that our Lord has chosen to fight for us, and I'm telling you, it's a price for it. So anyway, I'm walking down the hallway, and 2 nights before that, the computer was cutting on by itself, and I would go in and cut it off. I'm like, wow, who left the computer on? So the next morning I would ask who left the computer on. Everyone said, I never used a computer. I don't use computers anymore, Dad. I mean, that's old school. I have a phone, I have an iPad. So I walked by there the next night, and Irene was sitting at the desk. Now, she is a woman that owned this house before back in I have old colonial, and this is the woman that was living here before. I did research on her. Her name is Irene, and she was sitting in the desk, but she had been decomposed, and she swung around in the chair and looked me right in the eye, but I didn't flinch. I never let them know that I'm afraid of them, because I'm not anymore. Because again, I use that name that's above all names, and they move. That name is real. The spirit of that name, Jesus Christ, wherever it came from, they're afraid of it. And that's my salvation. That's how I stay. That's how I'm able to talk to you guys, because I talk to doctors, and no one can explain it, because this is above their pay grade.
Well, we really appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us, and hopefully things get better for you. And I hope you hang out in the chat for a little while with us and listen to some more stories. But I'm going to move on to the next guest, but I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a lady who has been waiting. Chris, you want to go ahead and get this one? I'm going to go release the Kraken. I know you love when I say that.
Just go. Just leave.
Okay, I'm.
Get out of here. I'm just kidding. Yeah, go for it. Sarah, I know you can hear me, but I actually don't see the person, so I'm gonna wait for you to come back. Oh, never mind. Hi, Dawn. Dawn, are you with us? Yeah. Dawn, you can request to join again if you want to. But yeah, guys, while Sarah's pooping, if anybody wants to come up here and tell a story. Cat Mama, did you call me boring? You're so mean. But yeah, guys, if anybody wants to join and tell us a paranormal story, don't be shy. Request to join. Oh, wait, we got somebody. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So this is a ghost story,
Ooh.
and it takes place, um, at my mom and her husband's house in Colorado, and I it's the first night that I came back and you know I came back into the house and I was down in the basement and I had brought my stuff in and it was the first night I slept there and when I didn't think anything of it, and I laid down and everything seemed okay, and I laid down and I went to sleep, and as I was sleeping I dreamed I was in that same house but in the bathroom, and the bathroom didn't look the same. It looked like it was old, and just everything like kind of gutted out, and it just looked old. And I was standing there in my dream, and kind of looking around, and I look up and I see this guy standing there. It's a native guy, and he's dead. And he's got a funeral, his funeral clothes on, like his tuxedo. And it just kind of freaked me out, when I seen him. And he just looked at me. And I was looking at him, and I was wondering who the heck this guy was. And, before he said anything, I had said out loud, not like really directly, I just said out loud, like, that us Navajo, Indian people from my tribe, we're forbidden, to talk to ghosts and spirits. So, I couldn't tell him ask him anything. I couldn't even tell him anything. So, uh, yeah, I just remembered saying that, and I said a prayer, and I asked God to save me. I was lifted out of this dream, and I wake up and it's pitch black, and I start to freak out a bit, and I I know that was the same bathroom upstairs in that same house, and I did burn a little sage, kind of cleanse the air, but it was just kind of strange how that had happened to me that first night, and that was my, I would say, first real encounter seeing a ghost physically. Like, I mean, yeah, it was a dream, but it was like, it was so real, It was like, yeah. So yeah, that's all I got, man.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up.
Oh yeah. What happened to the other guy? He just
Mothman keeps getting his internet, and he keeps disappearing on us.
Oh geez, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, though,
Thanks
for
for
coming up and
letting
sharing
me
with
share.
us.
Oh yeah. All right.
Oh, Chris is back. Hey, listen here, Chris. I heard what you said when I was releasing the Zelda, and I heard that.
What? What?
Ooh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't. It's okay.
Hello. Yeah, I don't think she's connecting.
Yeah. Intolerant vegan request again. Come back up. For some reason, it's not going to connect. We're having that problem a lot tonight. I don't know. Maybe Mothman is getting everybody's internet tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, he's sitting on a cell phone tower or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's chewing through them. Is what he's doing. He's gnawing holes in the 5G towers. As moths tend to do. What I'm talking about.
Hey, Swamp.
It's not connecting. Holy cow.
What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe everybody is requesting and then closing the app. I don't know. Guest, if you want to come back to the box. We'll try it again. Maybe a storm? Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
It's that damn Mothman. That's what it is. Guest box is open, guys. Oh, we got 2 more people. Let's see if it works this time. Oh, this is I remember him. He has good stories.
Hi, John.
Hey guys, how you doing? My favorite stream is on tonight.
How are
As
Good.
you?
Oh, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Always happy to see you guys on here. As usual, I've got a ghost story because I've got lots of ghost stories. This one goes back to when I was like, I don't know, like 20 years old. My parents built this home in a really, at that time, small populated foothill community in Calaveras County, California. It was old gold rush country. It was a town called Valley Springs. And at that time, the total population was like, I don't know, 300 something people. So we're talking pretty small houses, pretty spread out from each other. The kind of place that has like a post office, which is also the gas station, which is also the deli. It's like all just like a one thing, and that's all they got. So, anyways, when I would go visit my parents, because I was in college then, if we wanted to do anything, we had to drive like quite a ways to the next kind of biggish town, which was like, I think it was called Calaveras. And it had like a movie theater and a bowling alley and like something kind of to do, right? So I was there with my two younger siblings and staying for the weekend. We decided we were going to go see the last show at Calaveras. And we were driving, and there was kind of like this shortcut road, and I really couldn't tell you the name of it. It was like some obscure highway, they said, but it was like a 2-lane winding road that went through like basically a lot of undeveloped, like woodsy kind of foothill areas. And we were driving back from the movie, and I want to say it was like probably 11 o'clock-ish at night, pitch black. There's no street lights when you get in the woods. And I've got my headlights on, and my younger brother's sitting in the passenger seat. No. Yeah. He's in the passenger seat, and then my little sister's sitting in the back seat. And I guess she's looking out the side window, and my brother's looking forward like me, but we're all just kind of listening to the radio quietly. And I see up ahead, come out of the woods, like a silhouette shape of a person, and it's walking across the street, but it's kind of like gliding walking, like the speed that it's moving, the smoothness doesn't quite correlate with like the arm and the leg movements of walking. And it's all happening rather quick, like I don't know, like not so fast that your brain can register precisely what's happening that so quickly. So just on autopilot, like I put on my high beams, and it's still, even in the high beams, it's just like this black silhouette. It's like a black shadow person that just like absorbs the light. There's no light like illuminating a person there. And this happened so quickly, and as I got closer to it, it just sort of dissipated right in the middle of the street, like it just disappeared, and it just kind of drove through it. So there was like a beat or two where I didn't say anything, and we were just driving along, and then I said to my brother, "Did you see that?" And my brother said, "Yes." And I didn't want to tell him what I saw. So I asked him, "Well, what did you see?" And he said, "I saw a shadow of a person walk out of the woods into the middle of the street and then disappear." And I was like, "That's exactly what I saw. That's what I saw." And my sister was in the back seat, like saying, "What? I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything." But she was looking the other direction out the side window. So I don't know. It wasn't frightening. It was just like crazy. And we got home, and I told my parents about it the next day because they were sleeping when we got home. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, weird stuff always happens on that road all the time." And then my parents told me that in the middle of broad daylight, they were driving down that road to go into Calaveras, probably to grocery shop or something. And they said that they were driving down, and there was like this abandoned like campfire just on the side of the road, like set up fire, just burning on the side of the road, but there was nobody in sight whatsoever. And they thought that was really bizarre. And it was especially very dangerous because it gets very dry in the summer in Calaveras County. It's a huge fire hazard. And, it's one of those counties where they have all kinds of restrictions about fire and fireworks and all kinds of stuff. They don't even have like a fire department there. And grass fires can be really deadly. So my parents were driving, but they kept thinking, well, someone's going to be on this road that started that fire. We'll find them. And as they were driving, they saw nobody. So then they thought, well, we better turn around and go back and put that fire out. So they flipped around and they went back, and they were driving, and there was no fire there. There was no campfire set up. There was nothing giving any evidence that they had driven by a fire, and they both knew that they had absolutely driven by a campfire set up on the side of the road. And that was their story about something weird happening on the road. And that's all I got for you tonight, guys. Thank you.
Oh, very nice. I love your stories. You always have the best stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah.
That is so spooky. It sounds like definitely a shadow man
Yeah.
for sure. Um, but a phantom bonfire, or like, I don't know if you call it. Is it like a full bonfire? Maybe, maybe not. But a phantom fire. That one's really unique and spooky.
For sure.
And you know what? It kind of makes me think of. It makes me think of ghost lights a little bit. I wonder if
Yeah.
it could be something similar to the ghost lights. It looks like Swamp is finally back. Hopefully it connects this time. Hopefully, maybe.
Nice one. Is that your cat, Sarah?
Yeah. It's that time of the night for him to yodel.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, is it?
No, I don't think so.
That is so weird. What is going on? Swamp, try it again, because this is like TikTok is out to get us tonight, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna wait for you if you want to try it again and see if it works this time. The ghost in the machine. Yeah, it is. Apparently. Have you ever seen a silver person? No.
Like the Silver Surfer?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was like a silver character or whatever. Bandwidth, cause yeah, God have mercy. I hope that's not true. But it could be. Who knows at this point? Thank you, Swamp. Swamp, if you want to try it again, we'll give it another try. But I have no idea why it won't connect. I'll wait a second for you. In the meantime, guys, tap screen, send some hearts. Everybody, I don't know, send Chris a flower so you don't feel left out.
No, don't send me anything.
Send him real flowers to his real house and put a creepy note on it.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Let's. It's gonna work this time. It's gotta work.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oh,
yes, finally, we got you.
Okay. My name is Jimmy. I'm 54. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'll start this off with I'm a Christian. I believe in science. However, I've had a few things in my life that I can't explain. I've had some paranormal, and I've had some extraterrestrial things happen. And like I said, I can't explain. I'd be glad to share either one with you. The paranormal is probably a little more interesting than the extraterrestrial. I'll start with I was a young guy in Savannah, Georgia, and we had a house, and my mother used to do the old garage sales. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And she bought an old frame picture from probably late 1800s of a bust of a Roman gladiator that looked like my father. She brought this painting home. My bedroom was next to an empty bedroom that was my father's office that he kept locked. And he would go to bed early. As a little boy, I was probably five or six, I remember. Mom tucked me in bed, said, I'm going to the bathroom and I'll be right back. Well, I knocked on the wall, and the wall knocked back to me. And I rapped on the wall, and the wall knocked back to me. So my mom came in the room. I said, well, you knocking to me? She said, no. I said, well, watch. And I knocked on the wall, and it repeated the pattern. Well, she panicked. She said, oh, my God. She ran to get my dad. She says, Bat, get up, get up. Somebody's broken into your office because it was locked he locked that door so I couldn't get into it because it had guns and everything else when I was little. So Dad rolled his eyes, tell him to leave. So she went and got a knife, went in the room. Nothing was breached. Not a thing in that room was touched. She grabbed that painting off the wall and threw it out the window. Never had another instance. Fast forward to my first house. I had a daughter that was 3, 4 years old that ran everywhere she went. Towhead blonde. We couldn't keep her in bed for anything in the world. I would sit outside on a back porch with the kitchen door open, and I could look through the kitchen to the front door with the hallway to the right. So a little white head run by. I looked at my wife and said, I'm going to kill her. She won't stay in bed. So I ran in there to the left. No way for her to get back down the hall to the bedroom. No kid. I go back to the room, she's sleeping. Looked at the wife and said, man, I'm losing it. So I saw her run across this doorway. Plain as day. So I went a few more days, and again, little head runs right by. I said, I got her this time. I said, you come in through the kitchen, I'm going to go in through the side door in the kitchen, we're going to catch her. Again, she was in her room playing. I didn't think nothing of it. So my neighbor grew up on the street, at the front of the street, actually moved down to the other end of the street, but knew everybody on the street from the 50s. And I said, hey, the original owner of this house, I said, do they have a blonde little girl? He said, no, but the son was a towhead blonde. And he died about last year. Somebody called and said he had passed. He said he was about 4 before his hair turned over. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe in paranormal or extraterrestrial, but what I experienced, I think was his passing. And he came home one more time. Are you guys still with me?
Yes.
Now I'm going to get into the hectic part. My wife has lived in the house that I'm in now. My witch of a mother-in-law passed away. And for years and years and years, we've been together for 26 years. They went on and on about the paranormal in this house. Oh, there's spirits walking around. Oh, the doors open. Oh, there's rapping. I said, your mom's on psych med. She's nuts. Just tease her and be done with it. She's nuts. Well, she was on in-home health care, and we started staying here. We had a live-in nurse, and I was sitting out here about 2 in the morning, and there in our main hallway, and we have a wise camera on every room. And sitting by myself, gaming on my phone, and the French doors to my right went out to the outside. Never got those French doors. I was sitting about 2 in the morning, and plain as day, I had a white apparition. I wouldn't say it was smoke, but I wouldn't say it was like a ghost in a sheet or anything like that. Go from right to left. And they've got me on camera. I just dropped the phone. I just looked. I was befuddled. I didn't even know how to react. And I told my wife, I said, it's got to be on camera because it's between me and the camera. We've got a camera up high on an entertainment center where you can't reach it. Nothing on the camera, but you can see me react. So in a few days, and I was sitting there, and the wife and one of my daughters was in the room with the mother-in-law, and I was sitting there watching TV, and I saw a shadow walk down the hall. So good, they're going to come in here with me finally. Never made it down the hall. So I walked down to the hall. It was a black shadow. I said, which one of y'all came down the hall? And they said, no, we've been back here the whole time. I said, no. I said, it cut off. I have sorry about the well pump. I'm in the garage. I have a security pad on the wall opposite me with a green light, and it broke the green light. So, I know I saw something break the green light. Well, I said, no, there's nothing here. So in a few more days, and Brent says, I think I saw a real tall black figure walking down the hall by my bedroom. I said, it was like 6.5, 7 foot tall. She said, yeah. So I saw the same exact thing. Now, like I said, the wife and mother-in-law swore up and down they've seen this stuff. The mother-in-law finally did pass away. And me and my oldest daughter were sitting up in the wee hours of the morning, and we were both gaming on our phones together in the same game. She had iPod earphones in, and I was tired. Well, she was taking care of her grandmother to the end, and she got so obnoxious at the end, it was just like Mommy Dearest. She'd always scream, Brienne, Brienne, Brienne. So sitting there, and plain as day, I heard her call. Now, she'd been passed for 4 or 5 weeks. I didn't say anything. I didn't bring my head up. My daughter was sitting across the table where he popped her head up, pulled her earphones. I said, did you hear that? I said, hear what? I said, maybe. I said, well, what did you hear? She said, you're not going to believe this. I said, well, you tell me what you heard. She said, I heard May May say, Brianne, Brianne, Brianne. Plain as day. I said, oh my God. There's no way around. I mean, she qualified it for me. And I've seen white and dark figures, and they're not malicious. It seems to follow the same pattern. I've actually seen some of the stuff captured on these paranormal shows that I thought was hokey. I physically have seen them. Whether you believe me or not, I don't really care. I know what I've seen, and I'm sensible, and I've got no scientific explanation for it at all.
Yeah, it sounds like you saw a shadow person, and your description of it is pretty much completely on par with every single encounter. And I personally have had an encounter with a shadow person, and that's what it sounds like.
Well, I also have a
So,
house that we bought in Ohio. It's up by Serpent Mound on the crater rim, and I'm right in the pattern of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And the 182nd Fighter Group fly low-level dogfights over my house. And I've seen, my father was a naval fighter pilot. I'm well versed on what flies. He drilled planes into me since I was a little boy. And I've had 4 or 5 instances up there of stuff moving in the sky that shouldn't be moving in the sky like it's moving in the sky. And it's nothing that we have. We also have wise cameras up there. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, caught our Amish rocket chair start rocking for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Everybody was locked away in bed. And the hallway behind it, I was laying watching TV with my wife. We have a laundry door. It didn't creak open. It snatched open like somebody was breaking out of it. So it wasn't like, the house settled and rocked and it opened. I mean, it snatched open. It jumped me up out of the sofa. Nothing was there. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, what do you mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to shut the door. There's nobody here. So I don't know. I've experienced some really, really strange stuff in my time. I went to a gypsy, one of the palm readers, said, look, this is what's going on. I don't know what to do. She said, burn sage. We burned sage. It made it worse. And the house I'm in now in Florida. And she gave me these like rods of microcrystal. She said, put them in the 4 corners of your house to ward off any spirits. Well, we did. And I thought, well, and it stopped, pretty much stopped. I screwed around and dropped one and broke it and pulled it down. And darn if it didn't start back up again. So there is some validity to what people are seeing. And like I said, science can't explain it to me. I can't explain it to you, but I've experienced it. Multiple times I've experienced it. So that's basically the end of my story. I love your channel. I love that people get a voice to speak about it because, I don't talk about it too much to people. They start thinking you're crazy, and maybe I am crazy, but I'm crazy enough to know what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing isn't natural. So, okay, guys, well, take care. And thanks for having me on.
yeah, thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is like, it's especially hard, I think, for people just, from my own personal experience. If you're someone who's skeptical and like you don't believe in a lot of, oh, thank you, Swamp. You don't, like a lot of people don't really know anything about this type of stuff. So when you experience it, it's pretty trippy to and then like most people that like you can't just go around and tell everybody like what's going on in my house, let me tell you this story, because then they're all like, oh. So yeah, we totally get it here. All right, here you are. Hello, welcome.
For having me. I don't know where to start. I just don't. I've just had so much stuff happen to me over the years. It's count of how many UFOs I've seen, and I guess I want to start with that. I have never seen a humanoid figure that I could say came from one of these flying things that go around. I know that some people say they have, and I have no reason to doubt. Some of these accounts are pretty detailed. But I've never seen it myself, so I'm just seeing things flying on the sky. And from what I can tell you, if you're still like thinking, what does it matter? If you only saw the speed, you can barely detect it. They don't make any sound. There's no landing gear, no windows in these artifacts. There's the so it can look like it's metal, but there's no seams where you would where this metal would come together. It's it's not a technology. Regardless, it exists, but it is not a technology that I think us human beings are ready for, is what I wanted to say. If you don't know why this UFO thing matters, it's because I personally don't think government should have access to such power. It really is undescribable. And and that's how we know more than likely us human beings did not make it. And I think if we had made those machines, if that's what they are, the world would look a lot worse than it does. So I don't know about aliens or whether they're real or what they are. More, I know there's something, because a lot of people claim to have been taken. I remember once I opened my eyes, and I had one leg like hanging from a beam, like a light beam that was bluish, and it had like a pulsation to it. It was coming from from the wall, like from the outside through the wall, pulling one of my legs. I opened my eyes and checked my leg, and it just stopped. It couldn't. I couldn't tell you, but I have no memory of anything. Um, the only thing I do want to say is there's different ones, different types of machines that fly. And I have seen one thing that I wonder if anybody else has seen, and that's what I came here to really share. I saw a small sun, like the sun in the sky, and it was the size of like a basketball, maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. But I've seen these in several locations. The first time I saw it, there were two of them, and they were flying around a light pole. And this light pole, the way they were flying, it reminded me of animals, of bugs that would be flying around. But I know what you're thinking immediately. It's got to be this fireflies, as you call them. But no, no way. They were huge. I mean, in comparison. Um, i- but they were flying almost as if they were like a natural thing. Immediately, I thought, well, maybe this is what they call fairies. But they were just like almost like playing around this light pole. Um, and then later I saw one even closer. I could have jumped and touched it. But I was kind of afraid that, if I messed with it, like I had no reason to mess with it. Did it call me? Did it signal me for me to come mess with it? Like I just kind of saw it flying by that time. And since I'd seen him before, I was like, well, this last time they didn't come after me. I've seen a lot of weird stuff as well. This is probably not the weirdest thing, like especially because I've seen him before. I know it's a thing. And this thing is just minding its business. This light, this sun, the size of a basketball, and just flying around, kind of like an emotion of a bee, almost. Um, and but the thing is, my sister. This is the weird thing. My sister lives in a different country. I never told her about it. But when I did, she told me that she saw the same thing appear inside her room. Her room was locked. So the thing would have had to tell it, like transport it into the room through the walls or coming from a different dimension or something. I don't know. But, anyways, my sister did touch it. My sister did touch it. And she basically touched it like she was trying to light a cigarette off of it. Because we're looking at a sun, a small sun, like the one in the sky that shines the days, you know. Anyways, she grabs the cigarette, touches it, accidentally with the filter because her intention was to light it, and she says that the filter seemed like it burned, but not from heat. It was more from like friction. Later, I would read, I believe, the book of Enoch, or I would see some depiction of multiple rings uh, uh, going around, and I figure, well, maybe there's a way in which a friction like that could be created in some sort of energy, light. I don't know, but I really would love it if anybody's seen this and knows anything more about it, a name, a reference, because these things, I'm not afraid of them. I'd be afraid of the UFOs, the other ones that look like machines more. But these things, they're natural. There are things out there of the creation that we really don't know anything about. And I'm pretty curious about them. So if anybody knows anything about the lights that come down, the balls of light, I'd love to know more. And if y'all have any questions about anything weird, I've probably been through it, but that's the one I'm most interested in. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so it kind of sounds like ghost lights. I've got a video on the ghost lights. It's a pretty interesting phenomenon. A lot of people have theorized what they think it might be, but nobody really knows for sure. But yeah, it kind of sounds like ghost lights a little bit.
They're natural, so be afraid of them. Like, you wouldn't be afraid of a bee. Maybe some people, but you know, if it comes after you, just I guess dock. You know, it just didn't feel threatening in any way. You know,
Yeah.
maybe several things out there that fly. Not all of them are the same. Don't think because the government tells you, oh, they're good or they're bad. They're all the same. There's different things in the sky, and we better start asking questions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and Raven is saying in the comments, like a will o' the wisp, which incidentally is also the same thing as ghost lights. I don't know. Very interesting, very unique story. I don't think we've really had too many like that here.
Don't touch
Any
it.
thoughts, Chris?
I was gonna say I don't think it's UFO related. It does seem like something like you said, ghost lights maybe.
Yeah, it could possibly be. Well, we really appreciate you coming up and sharing your
Thank you
story
very
with us.
much. Keep
Hang
it
out
up.
in the comments, and maybe some people in the comments have some ideas on it,
I
but that would
sure
be my
will.
guess. So, but we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Um, Will o' the Wisp. I've never heard that they lure people to dangerous locations. I've actually heard mostly positive things about them through, like just the legends and lore. But, you know, um, let's see. Sarah has been waiting for quite some time. Let's get Sarah up here. Hello and welcome. Hello, are you with us?
Sarah.
I think they might be asleep or something. I'm going to drop you if you want. Feel free to come back. So, guys, we usually call it at about 2, but we've got 7 million people in the box right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start at the top. I've lost track of who was who, so and who was where. But hello, welcome.
Good morning. Oh, I need to adjust my volume. Do. Good morning. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm gonna continuously mute my mic because I have my shop fan running in the background.
Okay.
I have a fun story, not fun, interesting story at least, to kind of go along with what the prior guest was talking about in terms of orbs. I was maybe 14. I was on a road trip with a family friend. We were coming back down the I-5 corridor, and there's this one specific spot. It has a hill. It's like one of the only hills in the area in that particular location. And we were driving, and I looked over at this hill, and this orb, this huge, I mean, it was massive. It was 3/4 of the size of the hill. Mimicked the sunset that was happening, but it looked off. It looked so off that people were pulling off to the side of the road, off to the side of I-5, to look at this thing. We pulled over. We did the same thing. There's probably almost a dozen cars. As we pulled over and we got out of the car, this thing, I mean, it had to have been hundreds of feet wide, and it was a sphere, and it didn't quite match the sky behind it, but it was pretty darn close. It drifted a little bit to the left, slowly, silently, and then zipped behind the hill and was gone. It's the first time I've ever encountered something that my brain couldn't wrap its noodle around, you know? I couldn't understand what was happening there. But it is very clearly imprinted in my brain for the rest of my life. This massive object, it looked like it had thermoptic camouflage, and it shifted over and then zipped behind the hill. It was one of the strangest things I've ever seen in my entire life ever.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be definitely pretty high on the list of strange. Pretty cool.
It was bigger than the Walmart that was like, I mean, maybe about a quarter mile behind it.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing.
And then like the pulsing sun thing, the little ones that the other guest was talking about, those fly around my house like frequently and often. And I mean, not like in circles around my house, but they're above and around my neighborhood. And no, they're not drones, and they're not a man-made thing. It is an essence. And no, we don't have fireflies in Oregon. It's one of those like, oh, there goes another spirit. Oh, there goes another spirit. And they're inside of reaching distance, right? Like you said, if you could jump and touch them. What's interesting is I'm pretty sure they function on entropy, the consumption of entropy. That's why when he said his sister touched it with the butt of her smoke, it looked like it burned, but it was the decay that entropy gives to things. Entropy is the breakdown of a collection of things, such as molecules, for instance. And that's why the cigarette butt broke down and it looked like it was burned.
I hope that person is still here and it was able to hear that, because this is all new to me. I don't know anything about this. My guess was ghost lights, but that's the best I had. Oh yeah, they're still here, so hopefully they heard all that.
So I walk beyond the veil. I commune with the past entities, and what he was talking about is very much a real thing, and it is very much all around us consistently, and it's a matter of our willingness to see it and participate with it, frankly.
Very interesting. So there's your answer. What was your name? I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. There's an answer for you. Somebody's always got an answer. I love that. Anytime somebody comes up and says I have like this weird thing going on, somebody here always knows the answer. So that's excellent.
Are you doing just one guest at a time, I'm assuming?
I mean, I can bring them up if they want to come back and talk to you.
Oh, no, I just asked because I was curious if I could just hang out.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can actually feel free to jump in and oh, thank you, Ollie. And I wanted to also say real quick, thank you, Matt Bortles, for sending the lights. Those were really pretty. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you want to hang out, that's perfectly fine.
Cool. It's one of my focuses. I'm pretty good with a lot of this stuff. I experience a lot of it in a weird way.
Right on. Okay, well, I'll bring up the next person then. And I'm going to grab some coffee while you guys all talk. Chris?
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. And yourself?
Good. It's 2 in the morning and I'm still up. But I saw you guys are on and thought I'd tell one more story. It's not too long, but just my stories are not that long. But
Yeah.
my boyfriend and I, which he's my husband, went to New Orleans and for the first time, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. Like he's like, oh, I got this place. It's beautiful. It's from like 1872. I think it was called 1872. And it was a bed and breakfast. Beautiful. So we walk in and it's just like what all the two people that redesigned it to the original status of the house. And we walk up, first of all, there's a big, huge golden retriever just standing there. We're like, oh, this is awesome. And we walk up the stairs, and there's like maybe like 5 floors. It's big. It's a huge, huge place. And every room we look in, we're like, oh my gosh, it's just like gorgeous. It was like, poster board, like from the 1800s. And then we walk up, 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 and we end up in our spot. And my husband, our boyfriend at the time, said, I just got this 2 weeks ago. And no wonder why, because we end up at the top floor and the lady's like, oh, you're in the slave quarters. And we're like, oh, that's nice. It wasn't looking anything like how the other rooms looked. Very square box like room, like wooden type panel walls, like normal bed, kind of just, a normal little upstairs. But she said there's, 3 other rooms up here that nobody has rented for the weekend. So you have the whole upstairs to yourself, but the bathroom, you have to walk out of the room to use the bathroom. So it was kind of like this weird feeling. I mean, I just got it right away. It was just a weird, weird feeling. And I pick up on this energy and I'm like, okay. So I grab my camera and just start taking pictures. And I know about dust pictures with orbs and stuff, but I got orbs everywhere. I mean, I would blow them up and I could see faces inside of them. It was crazy. So I'm like, there's something going on here. And every time I'd go to use the bathroom, I would just start like, I mean, you have to take a shower and, like you're feeling kind of weird. This is not this is a bed and breakfast. But I mean, seriously, the doorknob would rattle back and forth when I was in there because you'd have to lock it up. And the doorknob was rattling when I was in the shower. And I'm like, I felt like it was like if I opened up the shower, there would be somebody there. So getting back to we're gonna go out on the town. It's New Year's Eve. We went out, took the train or the trolley or whatever that's called downtown. Had a great night. New Year's Eve is a blast there, and so we ended up coming back home, kind of like around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, at that. And we're both laying in bed, and all of a sudden, like we both got woken up to like the bed completely extra like shaking. like shaking so bad that you're like, what in the world is happening? And he's like, Lisa, stop shaking the bed. And I'm like, Kirk, stop shaking the bed. And like we had a few drinks that night, but we both kind of just like fell back asleep. And the next morning I'm like, why were you shaking the bed? He's like, well, why were you shaking the bed? And I'm like, I didn't shake the bed. So we kind of went on with our day. Later that night, we get back home from our travels, and the bed is like, we wake up or we go to sleep. We wake up to the bed shaking, not side by side, but front to back. So we are basically shaking. The bed is completely shaking, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we both wake up and we're both like, oh my God. And so I just said, stop it right now. And to the spirit, I'm like, we do not appreciate that. And it just stopped. And it didn't say nothing else happened that night. We just went to bed. Um, I had to go early in that morning. I was starting massage school and I had to leave at 6 in the morning, and he was going to stay because his friends live there and we were just visiting them. So he's like, I'm scared. And I'm like, he doesn't believe in anything. He's like, I'm scared if you leave at 6 o'clock in the morning that the bed's going to shake. And so I get up and I'm getting ready for the airport, but I forgot my thing is I always sign the guest book. So I'm like, I didn't even sign the guest book. We've had such a busy trip. So I'm looking through the guest book, and page after page after page after page is like, this place is haunted. This place is seriously, the bed shakes. It's crazy. Years and years of book. Like, this book is super thick. It's like, this place is haunted. This place is haunted. And I forgot to tell you the time that morning. I went downstairs. They serve a beautiful breakfast there, and I was like, and champagne. They're like, "Do you want some champagne?" I'm like, "Sure." For New Year's Day, and I was like, this place is haunted. And he's like, he just looked at me and he wouldn't say a word. And I'm like, I know this place is haunted. And he's like, didn't even look like he even listened to me. So, but that, I forgot to tell you, the morning after we had the first bed shake, that morning was New Year's Day. And nobody was staying upstairs with us. I forgot to say this. Nobody was staying upstairs. So during the morning when I woke up a little bit earlier, seriously, the doorknob was rattling to our room, which we locked, and it was just shaking and shaking and shaking, like, let me in, let me in, let me in. I'm like, this is kind of weird, like, with this shaking. But then all of a sudden next door, the TV comes on full blast. Like, it was like just blaring. And I'm like, there's nobody here. And the radio next door or the TV comes on. And I'm like, this is like 4 in the morning. And it's like New Year's Eve. We're kind of tired. And it went on all the way to the wee hours of the morning. And I asked the guy, I'm like, did anybody stay upstairs? And he's like, no, nobody's up there. And I'm like, that's when I said, this place is haunted. And he's like, nobody's up there. But before I was leaving to the airport, I'm like, goodbye. I hope nothing happens. And he was like, I don't want you to leave. And all of a sudden I left and the bed started shaking frontwards for him, and this is 6 in the morning, and sideways, both, like 5 times both ways. And he was just like, stop it. And all of a sudden it just stopped. So it was just weird that like this old house would just play little pranks with us. And I believed, and he was like, I'm a believer after this. But now he's just kind of like, nothing's happened to him since. This was like back in 2004. But I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that somebody would shake the bed.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a mischievous spirit or something.
It
Is kind of
was.
the
It
vibe
was.
that I get from it.
It was so weird. And when I mean, my mom always told me, because she's had spirits and stuff. She's always say, just tell them to stop and, or, and just leave you alone. And it listened to me. It didn't like scare me that where I was like freaked out or anything. Like I had this feeling like, not that panic feeling like I had before one time. I was just like, stop. And it stopped. It was just like, just wanted it. I think it wanted attention. And if it was the slave quarters up there, they absolutely said, you're sleeping in the slave quarters. And I thought, it was a very interesting, very small, almost like an attic type of like, with, our room was very small. And then there was a room next door, and then there was a small bathroom. But it was up like 5 flights of stairs. Like this house was amazingly beautiful. But my husband he said, I got a great deal on this place. I'm like, yeah, I kind of know why now. But like we got stuck up in this spirit little realm of this, like I could feel it. It was just a heavy pressure type of feeling. But I think these spirits just wanted somebody to acknowledge them. And it seems like the book was filled with, this place is haunted, but the guy didn't want to say a word. I even like wrote back to him. I'm like, is your place haunted? And it's like, nope, it's never been haunted. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, there's no way, like an exorcist. It was like the exorcist, like shaking, like how violent it was, like, and you're like, there's not a train or a trolley or anything that could cause something like that. So I thought, very interesting part of my, like, just something that's always like happened to me anyways. But I just thought, oh, it's part of my ghost stories now. So that's
Yeah.
that's my story. I know it's late. I was just like, but I'm come back on here. You guys are so much fun, and I love listening to you guys because it happens to everybody and nobody likes to speak about it, and people feel weird. But whenever I go to the elementary school, I'm a substitute teacher. I know I'm like, you guys want to hear some ghost stories? And they're like, yes, Mrs. Ring, we want to hear your ghost stories. And so they get all excited, and then they share their ghost stories, and kids' ghost stories are amazing. They get, their light is so bright that they just attract them like, shoop. So, their stories were amazing. And I'm like, if we all were sat down in a big, huge group, I'm sure every single one of us has something to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for having me on. Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good night, Lisa.
Good night.
Have a good
Real
evening.
quick, oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you said something.
I was just, have a good evening.
I was going to say real quick, I did not get to see it, but somebody sent my very first Galaxy. I don't think I've ever got a Galaxy on here before. Was it Sam? Yeah, Sam. So Sam, if you're still here, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam.
And Maker, feel free to jump in the conversation. And oh, we lost a bunch of people in the box. Yeah, Maker, feel free to jump in and talk if you want to talk to people.
Can I share a story of last night?
Sure.
So, my house is warded in a bunch of different ways. My wife and I were sitting on the couch watching a TV show. We have 2 cats, and both of them were on our laps. So there was nobody else in the house. The light that was on behind us, well, rather, there was a light on behind us. And on the ceiling, I could see the shadow of 3 people walk in the direction that goes down the hallway that leads to the front room. And I was like, okay, that's not good. Obviously, there was no physical people there in the house, aside from us and the cats. And being a witchy person, I guess if you could call it that, I was like, if you didn't see it, it didn't exist, sort of thing, you know. But then later on that night, I got to thinking, like, how could that shadow move in that direction? So like I stood and tried to like put my hand where the shadows passed. And the only way I could do it was by putting something on the ceiling and moving it like across the ceiling. The only way the shadow could actually project is if something was on the ceiling and moved that way. And having a very warded home and something like that happen kind of freaked me out. Like, it freaked me out to the point where I called a person, a friend of mine across the country, and was like, "Hey, do you have all of your things in a row? Like, are we good? Because I need to basically cleanse my house to the nth degree."
Yeah, sounds like you've definitely got something going on there. Sorry, Sam. I thought that was you said that for I don't know. It's late, and I'm like, um,
No.
are you with us?
Yeah, yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I bought a house with my wife. We moved. I was currently living in a house that a friend of mine had. His dad passed. So we live in a house, and we had some really strange things happen in a house. We'd find pennies and nickels everywhere. After we even cleaned up the house, you'd find one out of this blue. And he was very famous for collecting nickels and pennies, which was really strange, and dimes as well. But we'd find them in the strangest places, just out of nowhere, like on the counter, on the floor in the kitchen. So we wound up moving. We bought a house. And when I bought the house, two ladies had lived there before, and they left. When I went to the house, being in a spiritual community myself, mainly around Wiccans and so forth, I'd noticed that the house was warded when I moved in, and before I moved in, which was kind of strange. I'm like, okay, why do I have calcite stones and crystals, here and there? So I assumed at that point that it was warded. I went in. My wife had a daytime job, and I had a nighttime job. So during the night, she would pack stuff up and get ready because we still were in the transition phase of moving to houses. She would pack stuff up from the prior house, and I would come in and work nights, and I would move stuff during the day. So the first thing I moved was our bedroom into the new house. Well, after moving truckload after truckload, I moved like 3 truckloads full of stuff by myself. I was tired, so I had to go to work a shift that night. So I laid down, I went to sleep, and I heard a whisper. I was asleep, and I heard "wake up," but it sounded like probably a small girl around 4 or 5 years old. And I have a daughter at that time that was young, but not that young, and she wasn't with us at the time. And my other 2 oldest were in school, and I heard again "wake up," but it was in a girl's whisper. And I rolled over and went back to sleep, and it did again really loud, like almost a scream, but a whisper, like stressing to wake up. Wake up! And I snapped awake, and I looked around, and I'm in the house by myself. So at that point, I knew, oh my gosh, here we go again. So I told my wife, and we immediately saged the house. As soon as she gets home from work, she got home right before I had to leave, and we saged the house, the entire house, and I added we blessed the house and added some more warding crystals, stones, as an extra precautionary measure. At that point, I went to work, came back, parked my truck, and I'm sitting in the driveway. She had moved in that night. The kids had moved in. They were still transitioning, moving stuff, but we had like the bedrooms and, where we could have our sleeping arrangement anyway in the new home. And I parked in a driveway roughly about 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. Yeah, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the driveway, parked. And as I'm parked at my driveway, and this is the very next morning, mind you, after all this stuff transpired the day before, prior to, And this is like the probably third time I've seen a shadow. This one was roughly, I don't know, 7, 8 feet tall, walked in front of my house, looked in a doorway, and then moved down to the window, looked at my window, walked through the driveway where I was parked at, looked into the garage, turned around, looked at me, and I just paid like I wasn't paying attention. I looked the other direction. And then it walked off and just disappeared as it was walking off the edge of my property. Because at that time, I guess it realized, well, there's no getting in my home again. It doesn't have a way in, so to speak. I haven't seen it since, but that right there creeped me out at 4:00 in the morning to see that thing. That was something else. Other than that, I work in the oil field and have for many, many years. I was in New Mexico. Are you familiar with the New Mexico area?
Chris might actually be.
Okay, well, I'm out not too far away from Hobbs, New Mexico. Hobbs and Carlsbad.
I'm not super familiar, but I've been there before.
Yeah, I'm not too far away from there where I was working on a location, and it was shift change about 4:00 in the morning, and had a guy come to relieve me because I worked night shift and have for many, many years. He drove up in his truck. We're sitting there talking. I got out of my truck. We're doing cross shift change. And this is the first time I'd seen anything like this. It's like a huge ball about the size of a length of a pickup truck. And it was like blue and purple, kind of like a lightning color. But it was a big ball and it went across this real slow right above us, about the height of a power line above us, above our head. It just went by real slow, probably around 5 miles an hour maybe. And it went out about 200 feet and shot out, quickly. And it dispersed in 5 smaller balls and went different directions. Like all different directions. Just disappear. Like you could see them go off, but they went faster and faster until it was just gone. It just disappeared. About a year later, I was coming in Texas, coming in off a job, and on the side of the highway, I saw something very similar, but it was like an emerald green color, and it went from the ground straight up in the sky, like slow, like a balloon, like a blimp or something, slow. And it went up about the height of probably 2, maybe 3 telephone poles, and just as fast as I saw it going up, rise up slowly, it just shot out and disappeared. Within seconds, we're talking speed of light, gone. That's the second time I've seen one of those very similar. They were both round. They both held like multicolors, and it looked like, those little balls you buy in a store and you put your fingers on, and it kind of goes lightning touches wherever you touch the ball.
Yeah.
It looked like that almost. Almost like that.
Plasma display.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been ball lightning.
No, it wasn't ball lightning. This was an actual. Do what now?
Did the colors of the sphere match the sky around it, or close to?
No, because both time it was dark and it was not cloudy and it was not rainy. That's the crazy part. It was what it was. No, it was dark outside, but there was no rain, no cloud, no thunderstorm, no lightning, nothing.
That's wild.
And they came out in front of me just like if you were sitting at a stop sign and you see a white Subaru pass you, you see a white Subaru. There's nothing else around it. Just you and that car at the stop sign. Just clear as plain as day, and then just left as quickly as it moseyed on up to us. It left just as quickly as it got there, which was crazy. And it left, the way they left, you could see it go further out. Like the blue one went straight out, the green one went straight up, but the blue one went straight out as though it were just hovering above the ground. Just kept on going until it split apart. Once it split apart, within lightning speed, those 5, when it split into 5, they were gone. different directions, just shot out different directions. And I looked at my buddy and I said, "Did you see that?" He said, "Yeah, but you realize where we're at, right?" I said, "New Mexico." He said, "You haven't heard of Roswell?" He said, "You start talking about stuff like that, they're going to put you in a straitjacket, put you in a mental hospital, and I'm not going. I will never repeat this again."
So you think it was alien or UFO related?
I believe so. I believe so. Who's to think if we're that the human race is the only entity on this planet? Is sadly mistaken. We have galaxies and universes full of we don't understand.
Right, I agree.
There is no way, under any circumstance, that we are the only entities in this universe.
I'm in total agreement with that. Total agreement.
Yeah, Cat Mama, Roswell was a cool place.
I've been to Roswell. I've got friends that live all over New Mexico. I live in Texas, not far away from the border of New Mexico, where I live right now. And I tell you what, there's a lot of people see a lot of things out here, and people do talk.
Where in Texas are you?
I'm in West Texas, over by Midland.
Oh, okay, I'm in El Paso.
Yeah, you're about as far west as it gets.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in northern Arizona or northern Nevada, and you see some weird stuff out there. I have a picture of myself in front of the Area 51 entry gate with a white Bronco sitting right up there up on the hill.
Yep. Yeah, the family that I was adopted into were all they're Cherokee, and my original family, I'm Irish and Cherokee myself, and my family, they do talk, and they talk of a lot of things that happen in the area that they grew up in that are tribe related, of different entities that they've encountered through the years themselves.
Flesh pedestrians are definitely a thing.
Yes, absolutely, that was one of them.
I was in the forest down in Southern Oregon where I grew up, and hearing my own voice saying my own name back to me is terrifying. It is very disturbing.
Yep, one of my uncles was out hunting, and he said a coyote where he was at kind of came up in the area that he was in as he was hunting, and so he decided to leave because he didn't trust a whole lot of things, especially a coyote during the middle of the day. And he said he went to leave, and the coyote ran at the speed of the truck, which he said I sped up the truck to 40 miles an hour, and the coyote ran up beside his truck and was trying to get into the truck. He's like, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I didn't go back. The transition between a coyote and something else.
And it was quadrupedal when it was running, but it could run with 3 legs as it was trying to get into the vehicle.
No, it went from 4 to 2. And it transitioned between a coyote, and he said something else. He couldn't or wouldn't describe exactly what it was, but it ran from 4 legs to 2 legs, and as it got into 2 legs, it got larger.
Yeah, flesh pedestrian, not so much. That's a hard pass for me. Thank you.
Yeah, he said he hit the gas and never stopped. Like, I don't blame you. He
I
said,
would drop
not
a
even
hammer
for the
on
good.
that vehicle and just go.
Kind of like when you get that sixth sense of something's not right. He said, when I saw the coyote look at me and start kind of coming in my direction, that's when I grabbed my gun and I left. He said, I got in my truck as soon as I started driving off. That's when it started chasing the truck. And as he got to speed 20, 30 miles an hour, it was still keeping up with the truck. And he said even up to 40 miles an hour, of course, at that time, vehicles weren't designed the way they are now. They don't go near as fast, but, 60, 70, maybe 80 miles an hour at max. And he said that thing was keeping up with my truck even at 40. I was like, whew, that's
And
crazy.
he out his window. That means the legs were very, very long, and the body was probably longer.
Yeah, he said it transitioned several times between a coyote, and he always said something else. But he would, like I said, he never would state what it did look like. But he said it wasn't human, whatever it was.
I've seen that out in Nevada. That is, and also a friend of mine confirmed what I saw because she saw it without her and I talking about it. That's well, it's a fucking thing to not deal with. I'm sorry for the language. I don't know if that's acceptable here.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Nevada topography and like the areas around Pyramid Lake?
I've been all over Nevada when I was younger, but I've never, and like I said, I've never lived there, but I'm familiar with it. Yes.
So there's the standard route around Pyramid Lake that takes you on 447 and whatnot, but there's a back way around Pyramid Lake that's called Smoke Creek Highway, and it's a dirt road. I was with a friend and we were driving Smoke Creek Highway between Reno and Gerlach. And basically the same thing happened to us, but it was more like horses instead of a coyote. And we just had to literally like drop the hammer, like put the gas down, and outrun it. It was very scary.
Mm. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and tell a couple of other stories. I have a lot more, but that's enough for me tonight. There are some other people that like to go on, so I'll go ahead and get off here. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on and have a great conversation. Thank you for allowing me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming up.
I'm gonna drop down too.
Okay.
With me again, sir.
Yeah. Try to get a couple more people. We are in big time overtime, guys. I am so sleepy, but hello, welcome.
Hi, this is my first time on. I just ran across you guys. Thanks for having me on. I guess that maybe I should go in chronological order because that's the way it happened. First thing, I had saw a UFO. It may have been military, I don't know. I was about 14, 15 years old. My friend and I were laying up in these apple trees that my parents had in their backyard and looking up at the sky, smoking cigarettes. And there was this thing that, if you can imagine, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, it was like a one-way sign, but it had an arrow on both ends, and it was transparent in the center, and it looked like a tube all the way around, and it was silent, and it was high, and it crossed by, and it was almost like it had a cloaking device, like it didn't want to be seen. And, you know, it went across the sky totally silent. And I looked at my friend and I was like, hey man, did you see that? Did you see that? And he just looked at me and didn't say a word. And I've spoken to him about it because we're still friends. I mean, not as close as we were, but of course we're still friends. And he's like, I saw nothing. I don't remember anything. But this thing looked like an arrow on both ends and a tube all the way around. And it was so strange. And it stuck with me forever, to this day. And then, moving on to my paranormal, I was delivering pizzas in a first edition Toyota MR2. And there was this one place that had a graveyard at the end of a cul-de-sac, off the end of a highway. And it was it was a little creepy, you know, going, it was like a one-lane road, kind of like, you know, an area of houses that were built just to sell property. And but at the end of the cul-de-sac there was like a family graveyard. And I went around, you know, I turned around, you know, I had to do like a 3-point turn because at that cul-de-sac, because it was so small. And one night, as I was performing my 3-point turn, my lights are shining on the graveyard, the small graveyard. It's locked behind a fence, and there's a rabbit hopping joyfully there. And I say out loud to myself that I'd like to see a ghost. And suddenly this energy rushed into my car and it crawled all over me, and it was terrifying. And I had about, I don't know, 5 miles to get back to the restaurant, and I cooked it. And those little MR2s would fly. So, I mean, I got back there and I ran into the restaurant. And, you know, that was my first experience. I mean, like, I would have, like, feelings of dread and stuff like that, but that was the first time that something actually touched me, it seemed. And my most terrifying experience, I think, ends almost a little cheesy. But I was dating this girl that I was working with at a different restaurant. I was in food service for a while. I'm in sales now, but I was with her, and we were in her house. And these houses were built for like people that were in the military, and they were working at this ammunition plant that was near the town that I lived in, and it had been extended. So they had added like an additional room, an additional bathroom, and like a living room. But as you walked in, they had set it up like a great room, and to your left was like a couple of bedrooms and a bathroom. And then as you walked in through this door, you went into a kitchen, and then like the extension was a large living room and another bedroom and a bathroom to your left. We were there alone. And it was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. And she had fallen asleep. She was fast asleep. I mean, like, she was out like a light. And I was having trouble falling asleep, and I heard something. It sounded like someone was dragging a chair across a hardwood floor. And I looked over, and I saw this figure that was blacker than the black. And I know that's kind of cliche now, but it was blacker than the darkness that was around it. And it was so tall that it had to bend its head down to get through the door from the great room to the kitchen. And it was making, and as it did this, it was making this noise as it was dragging this like a chair across the hardwood floor. And it did this 3 different times. And seeing her fast asleep and me, propped up on my elbows watching this thing go in and out this doorway from the great room into the kitchen, from the great room to the kitchen, from the great room to the kitchen. I was just like, you know what? I don't think this thing wants me here. So I wake her up. I say, hey man, I'm leaving. And she gets pissed. And like the house had like a deadbolt, a door lock, a chain lock. I mean, like all these locks. I mean, there's about 4 different locks, 3 or 4 different locks. And she lets me out. She slams the door behind me. I hop in my car, the same car. And I get home and I have trouble sleeping, but I go to sleep, and she calls me in the morning and she was like, why did you do that? And I was like, oh, I thought I needed to come home. And she's like, no, why did you do that? Why'd you call the cops? And I was like, I don't mess with cops, not at all. If there's any cops on the feed, man, sorry, but I don't fuck around. Sorry, I don't mess around with you guys. And she was like, the cops showed up last night. They're at my door and they said somebody called, from my house. And I was like, and then I told her the story. And she got a little freaked out, and I'm still freaked out about it. Those are my stories. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. It sounds like you had a run-in with a shadow person. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I would consider it a shadow person, but it also felt, when I was there, it felt demonic.
Yeah, most people say that they don't get any bad feelings from shadow people, but yeah, I mean, I guess once in a while, um, I don't, maybe one of them has a bad attitude here and there. I don't know, but but that's
Well,
really
I was,
spooky. That's very ooh, dragging the chair around. That's really creepy.
yeah, well, I mean, there was no chair. It was just that sound. That
Right, yeah.
sound, it sounded, there was a hardwood floor, and as this thing passed through, not when it would come back, but as it passed through, like from the hardwood floor into the kitchen, the great room to the kitchen, the great room had the hardwood floor. That noise, where it would, just like a dragging of something across a hardwood floor. And what it sounded to me as if it were like a chair, like a wooden chair being drug across a hardwood floor.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing your stories with us.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
Chris, I'm trying so hard not to laugh because you said bro was rich furniture. Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
Oh.
Guys, I'm so sorry guys. I know we've got some people in the box, but it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like losing my voice. I'm so tired. There were a couple times where I went to say something and it came out in a rasp. I was like,
We're doing an
I'm gonna
hour
have to.
overtime.
Yeah, we are, but we will be back on here tomorrow night, guys. We're here Sunday and Monday night, and I'm so sorry for you all that are in the box. Ollie, I'm so sorry. Please come back tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow night, guys. If you haven't already, please follow me. Turn on post notifications. That way you know when I go live. Follow Chris. Chris is he's also a Chippendale Dancers. I only have like mods if they're Chippendale Dancers. Tully, I don't think Tully is here still, but if you guys go over to Folking Weird, I don't know if somebody could type that in the chat, like Folking Weird, and support my moderator Tully. I would really appreciate it. He's got a super awesome channel. If you like my content, you like his content. And be here tomorrow night for the Monday night stream, and we will tell some more spooky stories. I appreciate you all for coming and hanging out with us, and lots of appreciation for the guests. And it's that time of the night where I forget how to use words. But we appreciate you guys, and we hope you had fun, and we will see you all tomorrow night.
Bye, guys.